So, we got a new video from the Young Turks, and it's addressing a topic that they have never addressed before. It's a long-standing trend.
Anything lost can be found again except for time wasted. No vision without action is merely a dream.
DatPiff.com world premiere.
The grinds, the hustles, the persistence. In the car while roaming around, all my thoughts been roaming around. Where I come from like a hole in the ground, feeling me still holding it down. Every car pass by with the music going loud while bumping, roaming around. Telling me to make a hit, but I really don't get why they walked on roaming around. Out my window, I see everything I dream about and wish I had. Out my window, I see everything I dream about and wish I had.
Let's see if the show's over, right? London Bridge attack explained. Here we go. London Bridge attack. There it is. Alright, you're not gonna be able to see this, so let's see.
I mean, I'm watching the screen as well.
Yeah, but it's gonna get delayed. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna do a quick analysis of this, if you don't mind. And
Sure, go ahead.
but good chatting with you. Oh well, you want to just I was gonna hang up. Oh Jesus, I didn't realize you have access to me.
You can hang up that.
Okay, I mean, well, although I like hearing your breathing in the background noise, but I'm just gonna hang up for now. And we'll chat again later, and you get to work on the groundwork, and let's think about a German meetup.
Okay, yeah. And if you want to do like a follow-up stream or anything, I'm down for that too.
Okay, I'll get you on the...
Really necessary given that recent conversation.
No, we'll figure something out, and then I'll put you on the Discord. We'll get you on.
Awesome.
Good night.
See ya.
The UK suffered its third terror attack of 2017 this weekend, tragically. This time, 3 attackers targeted civilians in the area immediately surrounding the
Look at them. You can tell they're nervous. They're nervous. 3 attackers.
bridge. As of today, 7 have already died.
Let's see if they actually explain how long before they mention Muslim Muslim.
50 are wounded. I believe the majority of them in critical condition right now in London area hospitals. We have a real graphic we're going to show you. There's a lot of information sort of released about exactly what happened. Effectively, they used a van as a weapon initially on the London Bridge before getting off on foot and attacking people in a crowded market area, an area rife with bars and restaurants and that sort of thing. A civilian.
You know what's so scandalous? Like, they don't do a video on this over the weekend. They couldn't be bothered. You know, they're just going through all the motions, and so they wait, and then they give us the events of the story, which we could have gotten from anywhere else and have gotten. It's days old, but they present it anyway, and then the majority of this is going to be the explanation, which is going to be a little bit, it's not going to be exactly accurate.
Heavy area. However, many emergency calls were put in, I believe over 100 in the first moment or two of the attack, and then within the first 8 minutes of that call, the 3 attackers were...
So what the fuck is an attack? An attack? This is the words say so much. Do you think the headline of the story is not ISIS or Muslims attack again? It's Islamic terror? You think it's an attack, and it's, where is it? London Bridge. Oh, is it Manchester? Is it Berlin? Is it, where is it? So that's the important part. No, that's absolutely insignificant. It's this. What the? It's not just an attack.
Were shot dead. More information is coming out about the attackers. We're going to talk a little bit about...
I like how it's not terrorism either. They're dodging outward too.
That, including their country of origin.
Not country of origin, not religion of origin. Yeah, it's a national thing. I think this is a state versus state thing, right?
There's narratives at stake here, I suppose. In terms of exactly who they are, I don't care about that.
What? They're assholes. You don't care about who they are or why they did it. So here's what they're avoiding: the who and the what is big fudge. The why is completely off the map right now. The where they acknowledge it was London Bridge. They showed us a map. But the who, I don't care. They're assholes. They're assholes. Imagine anybody who does anything is just classified as an asshole. Imagine if you're a detective, you arrive at a crime scene, and they go, okay, so we got this body here. It looks like we got a murder, we got his footprints. What do we know about this guy? Well, before you tell me the report, let me just, he's an asshole. That's all I want to know. Okay, well, we found his wallet, and we have an ID, we have his name, face, we have a letter he wrote explaining why he did this. No, he's an asshole.
He got what they deserve for an absolutely terrible attack.
It's an attack. That's a new word. Attack. Hi-ya.
Especially...
Was it a terrorist attack, John? Or just an attack?
Manchester attack.
Oh, the Manchester attack. Nobody calls it that. The Manchester bombing, you could say. It was a suicide bomber. It was a Muslim doing it for ISIS. I don't know why you're tiptoeing and dancing around those obvious things.
Happened. But even that wasn't the first attack in the...
Attack, yeah. It wasn't the first attack. Are we following a long lineage of attacks throughout the UK? Remember the Vikings and all their attacks against the UK? The Romans came in, they attacked, that was awful. And then, who else did? I mean, everybody. Genghis Khan or whatever? I don't know, Hitler did. So, yeah, many attacks, John. Can we whittle it down? Can we get more specific? Is this a certain kind of attack? Can we connect some dots here? Is there a pattern forming, John? John, if we don't recognize that pattern, we are just lost in a sea of just pointless information, just data. It's like, remember the Matrix, that effect with the green waterfall effect? And when we look at it as an audience member, it's just like, oh, that's gibberish. What the fuck is that? But the guy reading it is like, ooh, no, I've seen it. I see the girl in red and all that. Yeah, we need you to be more like, eat the red pill, dude.
That's very rough. And the people of London are showing, incredible
resolve, strength, resiliency. Thank you. And that is, anybody watches me play chess, you know I predict moves. You know I'm inside their heads. You know I could be up inside their womb. Although my dong is so big, I'd probably be battling her uterus. Give her an Adam's apple for sure. Now, listen to me. Who cares about the Londoners? Okay, I'm a Londoner, I forgot. I'm about to go to London. Yeah, we're super resilient. Yeah, that's a great talking point. Oh, terror in London. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Muslim terror or just terror in general? Was it a white nationalist? What IRA? Yeah. It's so unbelievably scandalous that you don't still have not mentioned it. We're a minute 24 in, not one mention of Muslim or Islam. I predict that they will mention it and instantly pivot to worrying about backlash. They're going to trot out models. They're going to say, people saying it's all Muslims or this. Watch. That's the only thing they're going to say.
His durability in the wake of it.
Durability. What does that mean? What, they didn't quit the city? They didn't just like burn it down?
You got me crossing through the freeways, got you texting me all that you've been thinking. If I'm coming, you know then it's for a reason. I get the call whenever you get the feeling.
That's an incredibly rough situation to be able to know that this sort of thing is now happening with more regularity in that country.
This sort of thing. What is that? What was this sort of thing, John? Attacks by assholes? That's as far as you're going to take it. But do you realize how palpably weak this is? You can just, it stinks. It just affects you. It's like, what the? Who are you kidding, John?
Yeah, I mean, it's,
please make it to a 3-minute mark without saying Muslim or Islam. Or ISIS. And this is 3 days after the fact. Pussyfooting around this? This is not like great news.
Got me swerving, switching lanes.
By the way, you know the faces of the dudes. That information was out when they made this video. They had released the faces and the names.
They were going to put to while going back to when the United Kingdom backed George W. Bush.
What? George W. Bush gets a mention. Regressive
got you
agenda?
texting me all that you've been thinking. If I'm coming, you know that it's for a reason. I get the call whenever you get the feeling. You got me.
Let's go to the regressive agenda.
You got me.
He just mentioned George W. Bush. Why? I have no fucking idea. Guy guys are stopping people in London. Yeah, George W. Bush. That's fuck Republicans. That's number 5. It's fuck America because like somehow America's involved with doing that. Huh?
Small safe Netflix and we chillin'.
Explain some more.
Two you gon' start, I'm gon' finish. Yeah, I know you like it when I do
why 7-7 happened.
7-7, okay, yeah, another Muslim attack.
101 to the 4-5 to the Tennessee.
There was support from Tony Blair for
Got me swerving, switching lanes, blur lights all in my
Yeah, fuck America, blame America, and it's military to bomb America. What a goddamn stretch. Does it make you feel good? Did we scratch your itch? This is a guy who likes the smell of his own balls. He scratches his balls, he smells his hand. He does it in public and he gets paid for it. And he expects us to
Got you texting me all that you been thinking. If I'm coming, you know that it's for a reason. I get the call whenever you get the feeling.
young people say is not right. In my opinion, I don't know say if that's true or not. Focal location for these people.
Focal location. And you think it's because of America? Okay, so let me get this right. Guys are getting stabbed, but it's because 7-7, because Tony Blair, because George W. Bush, because America, because Iraq. It's like 6 degrees of goddamn regressive Kevin Bacon. Wow. It blows my mind. This is just like, they should cut to just seals, just, you know. What does a seal sound make? What's the name of a seal's sound? I don't know. Does a seal make a sound if there's a line in the woods?
These things, and I don't, the stuff is you don't know the victories.
Say the word Muslim or Islam or ISIS, please.
You know that it's like anything in intelligence, you don't know what's going really well, you just know what it went.
Look at that guy. Since when did Joe live like join the police force?
And this seemed like such a, haphazard, when you look at all of them, none of them are terribly professional, but some of them...
None of them are professional? They are professional enough to kill people. So, what are you looking for? Fireworks? Jason Bourne? Yeah, they're pretty pro. And, they're idiotic. Because they're religiously insane. They're insane religiously. That's probably a better way to phrase it. And look, they don't care about life. They value death. They seek death. And they seek to take out innocent life. And they are radical Muslims. They are members of a Muslim terrorist group. This is a trend that happens all around the world. Nobody should be shocked or horrified by this. There is a connecting thing that they all share, but apparently you are too scared to say it. I mean, it's politically uncomfortable for you to say. I don't get it.
They all do terrible things, and they have terrible results. But this seems more haphazard.
Haphazard? What?
And look, what's...
Oh, yeah. Come on, Anna. Tell us.
A situation like this comes up.
Yeah. The backlash. You're worried about what other people say? What is it? Do they say the wrong things, Anna?
The question of balancing, civil liberties with national security is a topic.
Civil liberties?
That should be discussed.
Oh, my God. Yeah. What civil liberties are being violated by us trying to prevent terror?
And one thing to keep in mind...
What a weird deflection. This is the end of the conversation. They have not said who these people are, or how we should stop them, or... I mean, this is such... Can you sense the fear? Because I am picking it up, on all three of them. They're profoundly uncomfortable. Because this story is a story that keeps coming up. Every time there's a new terrorist attack by Muslims, they freak out. They're like, oh shit, what are we supposed to talk about now? Close question.
Is that, Britain is very different from the United States.
What do you know about it, Anna? You're a wannabe chola from Los Angeles. What the fuck do you know about my home country?
In theory, it's very different than the United States when it comes to...
When was the last time you were there? How long have you ever been there? What the fuck do you know?
Privacy issues, right? So, the government there is very open and honest about the fact that they collect data on everyone.
Yeah, the government of Britain is under scrutiny now for collecting data? Huh? This is your coverage of the London Bridge terrorist attack by ISIS?
Everywhere, filming every single move that every person makes in the public. And so...
Cameras everywhere, yeah. That's called security cams. That's... What? What do you think, that's Big Brother? What mindless drivel this is. just, it's with each minute, and by the way, with 322 in, not one reference to Muslim, Islam, or ISIS.
Right now,
or the names or pictures of the killers. And I don't know if you saw my last video, but yeah, they show Dylan Roof, they show Anders Breivik, they show the Portland killer, they show all white people who kill, and 2 brown guys do it, and it's, oh, what? They're assholes, but it's not glorifying.
They also call sweaters jumpers.
They do. They do.
Oh, a little levity, thanks. That's almost not a joke.
Sweaters, jumpers. Some jumpers, completely different thing here in the U.S. But I think what's important is to kind of, and I know it's difficult, avoid all the different players that are trying to exploit this.
Exploit, right. The words, right. Exploit. What is their nasty agenda? To stop having them kill us. That's what we're trying to avoid. Yeah. Real exploitation. And what are you doing precisely right now? Covering the story with as much bias and as much amateurishness as humanly possible.
This tragedy for political reasons and start thinking about real solutions.
Oh, solutions. Oh, really? Well, what do you got? White helicopters, education is, I believe, what you like to say. You always go back to, we need to educate, or how about let's not alienate the disenfranchised immigrants of these towns, less Islamophobia, or how about pacifism, like have our military not do anything and just sort of bend the knee to whatever is going on in the fucking world? Is that the solution? Is it us? Is it something that we can do? Because that would be a lot easier. You know, like, if it's just something I can do, it's like, hey, David Copperfield, make the Statue of Liberty disappear. That's going to be tricky, Devin. I can't really make that disappear. What I could do is take your perspective and just turn your head 45 degrees so you're looking into the harbor and not at the goddamn Statue of Liberty. Wow, that's easier. Anybody understand that analogy? I hope you do. Think about it.
Because this is something that keeps happening over and over again.
And what's this? Is this attacks, or is it Muslim attacks? Is it ISIS attacks? Is it Islam being Islam again? Just like Manny Rodriguez being Manny, Islam being Islam.
You know, there was the bomb in Manchester.
Oh, right, just a week ago. Yeah, just these 2. I mean, there's 2. Is it 3 now? Oh, watch this. If she tries to include Portland right here, if she tries to include a non-Muslim event and push that all together and be like, look, those are the attacks. It's terrible. Watch.
Just 2 weeks ago. And obviously, what world leaders are doing right now.
Oh, yeah. So just the 2. It's Manchester and now London. Wow, that's 2 in such a short span. Dude, oh, God. Clearly, these people have not been paying attention to the terrorist list on Wikipedia or global news. I mean, this is not an English problem. This is a global problem. This happens all over the world, and it's by the same group of people.
Now isn't working. And it's not a question of political correctness being less
politically correct. It's been 4 minutes. This is your video about the London Bridge attack explained. You've explained jack shit. Your title is scandalously sparse of meaning and any relevant word that would describe what actually happened. And now you have the nerve to talk about political correctness? You're not even close to having a shred of integrity here. I mean, you're not being honest with yourself. I don't know who you're talking down to. I don't know what kind of millennial scum listens to this or would buy into this. It's absolutely just actually riveting for me to see that they buy it. I mean, the people that are delivering this bullshit, how do they not, like, just cough and die due to the fumes of their own bullshit?
Correct isn't going to miraculously stop ISIS.
Oh, ISIS gets a mention at 405. ISIS, what are we talking about? Huh? ISIS, all I know is that they're attackers. Attackers? Assholes. You know, ISIS. Miraculously stop ISIS? Okay, is this your spiel that you've done a million times about how if you say radical Islamic terror, it somehow magically ends ISIS? God, is that a tired line from you, Anna?
And all of these terrible people from doing what they're doing.
Terrible people? Who? Could you be more specific? Little vague, little just, very curiously vague there, Anna.
We need real solutions.
Okay, give us one.
And unfortunately, all of this data that officials have and all of this spying that officials do.
Oh my God.
Still not solving the problems.
So collecting data and spying, so you don't want to have intelligence, is that what it is? You don't want our officials and our freaking armed forces or our intelligence agencies to have access to information in the information age. Smart plan, Anna. And it's not working because we still have madmen. Yeah, it's a big problem. This is not a small problem. It's not like, hey, the light bulb's out. We'll fix the light bulb. Just replace it. Well, okay, that seems easy, but oh my god, there was another attack. Oh my god, this is so much more of a problem. Anna, let's scrap everything we're doing because there was another attack. It's our fault for not solving it, right, Anna?
So what do we do? What more can we do?
The world has not solved Islam for 1400 years. The only people that have solved Islam are the people that don't live with Muslims. They've solved it. Poland has solved it. Hungary has solved it. Japan has solved it.
Also, just one quick point on that. Authorities have released the identities of two of the assailants.
Oh, and this is the moment of truth. This is the moment of truth, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I don't know if they see my video. I'm sure they caught wind of it. Obviously they're not going to change their policy just for me, but this is where we're going to find out how hypocritical they are and where they stand and why they would await 426 into this. If this was done by two white guys, just think of it. Think of that. Think of it as two racist Klansmen that went in and shot up London. You don't think the thumbnail? You don't think it would say white, racist, shoot and kill, act of terror, all of it, and their names and faces will be plastered. Here it comes.
Now, all three of them have been killed. I'm not going to name the person. But
what? Are you fucking kidding me? You're not going to name the person? I mean, Jesus Christ. People at home, do you understand that she had a chance there? That was her moment. She failed. They have failed over and over again. How do you figure that it's not important? It's not wildly important who the people were. That is the story. The story is not, hey, there was a tragedy and there's talking points after it. And hey, what did Tony Blair say about George W. What the fuck is that noise? Absolute noise. The whole story is, who were these three guys? Who are they connected to? Are they part of the group? Yes, we know all of this. We have their faces, we have their names, we have a ton of information on them. They're choosing not to tell you that. Okay, this is a so-called news agency that is keeping news back from you. This is how, look, the message that they're sending to you is so inundated with their agenda. It is pure propaganda. I hope you're aware of that.
There's one of them who's 27 years old.
Yeah, his last name is Butt. B-U-T-T.
He was a British citizen who was originally born in Pakistan.
Oh, he's a Paki. Great. Like, what are the odds? A Muslim from London who shoots up the place? Really? And he's from Pakistan? You don't say. Wasn't a Sikh, eh? Wasn't Irish? Oh my god.
But he was on everyone's radar.
Yeah, and this is the incredible, the moral clarity here. So she's done talking about him. I guarantee you she's about to say, what was our law enforcement doing? And here's what she does. I know how her little hamster brain works. So she's going to say, why could we not catch this guy? Like, I mean, if he's on the radar, like we should go after him. We should empower our guys to go and do their job. And so they want us to scan the entire Muslim population of England, which is vast and huge, and figure out who's going to be the next terrorist. It's kind of tricky, Anna, kind of tricky. But then in her own little rabbit pellet-sized brain, she's going to be like, well, I do want them to do that, but I also care about civil liberties, and I think we shouldn't profile, and so it's a hard line, and she's going to just leave this pile of steaming, just dog shit on our doorstep, and be like, those were words? Did you enjoy my words?
In fact, he was on an episode of Jihadis Next Door, which is a show that talks about talks about extremists and
what's your point? Okay, the guy who shot this up, who you're not going to show a picture of, you're not telling us his name, he told us his age, and you said he was on Jihadis Next Door, and that's Islam. They are jihadists. This is a problem. And what's your point? Watch this pivot. It's nothing to do with the guy, the group, ISIS, those people wreaking havoc on our society. No,
some of their ideology, and it's just amazing because officials had been investigating him, and then
what's amazing about it? What's amazing?
They just dropped the investigation.
See that? Her scorn is on the officials. Did you see that? I mean, seriously, did I not predict it? And did you see it happen before your very eyes? It was not about Mr. Butt, not the jihadists. No, it was the officials. How dare they blame the goddamn victims? You're telling me you want Scotland Yard to just have pre-crime units running around? It's fucking difficult, Anna, when you have people willing to drive their cars into people and just kill themselves and go on suicide missions. I mean, it's so unbelievably baby-like and infantile for you to not understand what people are doing, what the jihadists are doing, what we're trying to do to retaliate. And look, the focus. Where is their focus at? What? That's where they go from here. It's going to go from this non-point, totally irrelevant point about criticizing the goddamn London authorities or the British authorities. What? The fuck? What are you basing that on? She's basing it on nothing. And like they said before, you don't hear about the successes. In fact, the Prime Minister said they've thwarted a bunch of terrorist attacks and the entire country was on high alert all the last couple weeks. So, I mean, there are things in place. It's difficult to stop maniacs from killing people. And by the way, those maniacs are Muslim. Kind of the point. But no, yeah. Fuck Scotland Yard.
Yeah, but you can believe that a person believes radical things. You can't simply just lock up everyone, of course.
Right, well...
Oh, really? Yeah.
Theoretically could commit...
Oh, right, yeah. So did I not tell you they stall their gears like this? They'd say, you know what, I think they should have caught the guy because, I mean, these guys were shooting people up and they kind of knew he was a jihadist. I mean, yeah, why don't we lock them all up? And then the other person's going to come back with, well, no, I don't know, it's kind of tricky. Can't lock all of them up and what? And then it is a festering, steaming pile of dog shit on your doorstep. I told you.
In an attack, but...
Right, look, I'm not saying that you...
Right. No, I'm not saying that. No. Are you saying that? No, we're both not saying nothing. No. Didn't do that.
You are. I'm saying it's tough. Even if you...
I'm saying it's tough, but I'm saying they should have done something, but I'm not saying they shouldn't have. I'm saying it's tough. I'm saying that boom, video's over. Who did it? Who did what? Who? What? Huh? Religion? Huh? What? Islam? ISIS? No? What?
Reason to be suspicious of them.
Yeah.
But right now, I don't know why they decided to drop the investigation.
What? So, just so you're clear at home, Anna right now is telling us why she should be critical of the British authorities for not arresting this guy or somehow magically knowing he was going to be the one to snap. So, okay, first of all, the guys that he is associated with, they are putting dudes in jail. There's an ongoing battle that is happening behind closed doors. You don't hear about it all the time because it's not sexy, because it's not abnormal. I mean, there's so many guys like this. And so, yeah, people slip through the cracks, and Anna's focus about this video is to chastise the goddamn authorities? Are you serious?
Right.
And it's not right. And it's the same cluelessness of all their anti-cop bigotry. They don't understand what it is to be a police officer. They don't understand what those guys do, what they're tasked with doing, the pressure, the stress of their job, and all the success that they do, all the good they do for the community. Instead, they find a viral video and they say, oh, well, from this angle, and yeah, well, the victim was black, and yeah, he reached for a gun, but I mean, he was black, he murdered slavery.
And so, instead of collecting all this data on all these innocent people...
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, Anna, you fucking infant. Yeah, don't collect the data of the innocent people, only do it from the jihadis and the super, violent ones. Yeah, Anna, the whole point is to, how do you separate those? Oh, my God, she's such a... I mean, it's like a baby would say that. It's like, why don't you get the bad people to stop doing the bad things and just check those emails? Yeah, Anna. Oh my, dude, take a fucking class. Go to college.
I feel like the resources should be focused more on individuals that you know are extremists. And
know are extremists? Okay, those are called Muslims. Okay, the faith of Islam is extreme, and especially some of the mosques in frickin' England. Yes, we know those, and we are watching those guys. So, yes, we must empower our authorities and our military and our intelligence agencies. We've got to empower them to have all the resources they need to go in and infiltrate and to crack down on shit to try to prevent this from happening again. Now, I think our immigration policy should be radically changed, radically, because who wants to live there? Like, if I have a choice between living in Australia and England, which I do, and both are in consideration because I have cultural ties to both and they both speak English and are good countries, which one would I go? Well, how about the one with less Muslims? You don't think that's a factor? You don't think that's an obvious thing to factor into where you're going to live? Of course it is. But look at her, she's so dumb. No, what she's talking about right now is profiling. Do you understand that? She's giving a speech in favor of profiling. Now, she's never going to say that out loud, but that's what she's saying, but they're avoiding the key elements in the profile. She's like, yeah, just focus on extremists. Oh, really, Anna? How are you going to do that?
Don't put them in prison right away.
Right, don't intern them. No. Yeah, Anna, just the wild musings of a totally uneducated, chola bimbo who doesn't know a single fucking thing about intelligence. And she's going to tell them how to do their job. Great.
Without convicting them of anything, but keep your eye on them.
Oh, really? Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Anna. Thumbs up. We weren't keeping our eye on anybody, right?
Right now, British officials have at least 500 different cases open in regard to extremists and possible...
You just told them to keep their eye on people, and then you follow up with the stat that they have 500 open cases. How are you going to merge those two thoughts into one?
Terror plots.
Yeah, so they are keeping their eye on people, is the goddamn point, you moron.
The fact that you were talking about just to go back to what I was saying earlier, you were talking about how whatever they're doing.
This is a weak man. This is a regressive, weak bitch of a man.
They might be 99% effective, and then somebody like this slips through. When they slip through and it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's called confirmation bias. And yes, it might be working, it is working. Read the reports. You guys are supposed to be the goddamn news. They put out statements. They tell you this stuff.
It's so tragic. It's so awful.
Tragic, yeah, awful. Assholes, right?
But it might also just be that this is the most successful anti-terrorist movement. We just don't know.
So once again, they're blaming the victims. I hope you know. This is like... It's like saying, well, arsonist strikes again, burns down another house. He burned down the freaking school and the library. It's unbelievable. What are the firefighters doing? Why aren't they just, like, profiling the right people and finding those extreme arsonist types, the dudes that, they are wild with the fire. Goddamn firemen. Not a word about the arsonist. Not a word. We're living with arsonists. Just so you know.
Yeah, if you hear 500 people, that means the 500 first
individual cases. Many people.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. 500 individual cases that are not coming to fruition, and one did here, and 6 people.
I'd like to just ask these people, like, do you have any idea what you're saying right now? You're saying you want to keep track of millions of people in your country. A bunch of red flags. I mean, this is not a small handful of people we're talking about. And at any moment, any of them can go berserk for their insane religious beliefs. How do you plan on stopping that? Are you going to monitor every car on the road? How? This is not how life works. This is showing me a complete failure to understand just the human condition, let alone how a city works, or how cars work, or how knives work. I mean, dude, this is so dumb. It's so dumb what I'm hearing just spilling out of their mouths. Not a single good part. We're halfway through the video.
People died, actually. And so, I don't know, it may just be
that one 2 weeks ago.
Another 2 weeks ago. Look at the terror report list. There's one every day from Muslims. Muslims are killing people every day, multiple times in different countries all around the world. They're acts of terror. This is not crime. This is not like botched robbery. No, this is acts of jihad and holy war. It's a fucking war going on. She's like, there's 2 events. There's Manchester and London. No.
What I'm saying is, they may be unbelievably effective, and it sounds horrible to say that. We just don't know what is going well, and so and that makes it even more complex, right? Because that is when the politics come into it, people start using it and grandstanding and all of that.
Using it and grandstanding? You guys are sitting here chastising and critiquing the British police, Secret Service. I mean, what are you talking about here?
They can't even say, and that's just a huge frustration. Yeah, and like you said, I mean, we don't necessarily hear
it's so stupid. Terror in London. From who?
right. He said, Vaughn, if you want to play your cards right. And fuck them niggas that let
monsters came out of the Thames River and just attacked everyone. They had tentacles. It was octopus. Octopi.
Victories. I mean, we hear about some of the victories, and I think that here at TYT we try to spotlight when they have successfully shut down the.
Oh, yeah. You focus on what you want to focus on, don't you? Yeah. You've got that power.
It's not just in the UK. That happens in the US.
You know what happens in the US? Muslims attack and kill people in the US, yeah.
They had that big, like, 9-state network of white supremacists.
Oh, white supremacy gets a mention. Interesting. 7 minutes into the London Bridge attack explained, and he's talking about white supremacy in America. What the fuck? Fuck you, John.
Wanted to start a race war.
Nice shirt, too, by the way. Looks like a goddamn picnic blanket. Race war? Oh, like Mr. Flanagan? Oh, but you went to the white supremacy one, didn't you? Why don't you go to the hate group, the Nation of Islam? No? Why don't you go to Gavin Long, the guy who killed on behalf of you and your anti-cop ideology? No? How about go to the guy in California, in Fresno, who killed white people, said, I want to kill as many white people as I could. By the way, he was a Muslim and a TYT fan. Why don't you mention him? No, you went to white supremacy, eh, John? You fucking queer.
Or by burning down a bunch of churches. I mean, that was shut down. It didn't happen. But then there's the...
Oh, it didn't happen? What? Huh? Hold on. What did you just say?
On a bunch of churches. I mean, that like 9-state network of white supremacists who wanted to start.
So he just referenced a 9-state network. What does that mean? A chat room with a bunch of rednecks who didn't do anything. Didn't do nothing. Literally did not do anything. And he brings that up in a discussion about just bloodshed on the streets of London by Muslims again. Unbelievable.
Race war by burning down a bunch of churches. I mean, that was shut down. It didn't happen. But then there's the other layer of victories, as you're saying, that we will hear about because it's incredibly sensitive. They need to maintain blah, blah sources, all that.
The sources. People that are providing
exactly.
And the gathering of those sources is so dangerous, too.
Yes, and we need to maintain the security and privacy of those until Trump tweets
Trump, anti-Trump statement. So after a mention of white supremacy, a mention of Donald Trump. What the fuck does Donald Trump have to do with Muslims killing people in London? Anybody want to tell me that?
Diplomat. But yeah, in terms of...
So scandalous. Yes, come up with another point, John. Just fill the air time with something, please. Don't talk about Muslims, but just talk about something.
They're collecting nuclear material to make a dirty bomb. You really hope that...
Who's they? The assholes, John? Is that the group that they belong to?
Intelligence. It seems like that's something that you should be able to stop.
Blame the British for Muslims attacking the British. That should be the name of this video.
If somebody were to get in their car and run off the road into a crowd of people, a city of millions upon millions,
is it easy to do, John?
Millions of people, you can have the most effective crime.
Thanks for stating the obvious, John.
Fighting organization in the world, and I don't think you will ever be able to stop all of it.
Yeah. You know why though, John? Because it's not about cars. It's not about our authorities. So I don't know why you've been wasting your time with this pointless discussion. It's about the people in the cars. It's about the people with the bombs, with the knives. If a human being has the desire to commit suicide, go out in a blaze of non-glory, and take out innocent lives, he can do it. Okay? The point is the ideology that inspires those people and who those people are. That is the relevant issue. Okay? It's not even being discussed here. It's not even on the table.
And that's a tragedy, and you're not supposed to say that. You're supposed to say...
It's not a tragedy, John. It's not. It's murder. It's serial murder. It's an act of terrorism from a Muslim terrorist group in an ongoing holy war against us. So it's not a tragedy. Sorry.
We're going to keep everyone safe in all cases, but I don't think that that's actually true.
Well, thanks, John. Yeah, we're aware of that, and you've said nothing, and that is just seriously just. It's like these arguments are brain dead. They just come up with. I don't think you can protect all people at all times. I don't think it's even possible.
I don't think that that's actually achievable. And that's not to say anything about particular cases.
Counterterrorism, in my opinion, has to do with so many different factors. It's not just surveillance. It's not just,
this is where we reach out to the Muslims and
intelligence gathering. It's also
disenfranchised. What is it? Marginalized.
Foreign policy.
Foreign policy. Cater to them. Do what they want. foreign policy decisions. That this is going to tie back to America and Iraq, obviously, and our military. But yeah, don't have any dealings in any part of the world, because then they have the moral authority to kill you, to kill your citizens in the streets. Yeah. Can we get a drone strike mentioned here, Anna, please?
Decisions that are being made, the type of rhetoric that's being used by...
Rhetoric, yeah. Our words. Jesus Christ. Blame the victims, Anna. Blame them.
Government officials. Now understand, when I say rhetoric, I'm not saying, every politician should go out there in public and talk about how amazing, this group of people are.
What? What? Oh my God, it's amazing to see the machinations, to see your little squirrel brain try to figure out how to not say Muslims. What you just witnessed there was a person trying to say, here's what she was trying to say. I'm not saying government officials have to go out there and say how great Muslims are. She didn't want to say that. She said this group of people, listen again and watch the panic in her brain, because she was borderline about to say what the problem is, and the problem is Muslims.
Every politician should go out there in public and talk about how amazing, this group of people are.
One more time.
About how amazing,
the Muslims are?
This group of people are.
Which group of people?
Of course I'm not saying that.
Oh, I forgot about that phrase. Of course I'm not saying that. Of course, yeah, right. Anna, what are you saying? Okay, let's hear it.
However, I think it's important to make sure that
disenfranchised?
You make it extremely
clear that you are welcoming and in allegiance with suicidal Pakistani jihadists?
Difficult for a terrorist organization like ISIS to recruit people, right?
What? Right? What? Recruit people? Okay, so now what she's trying to do is put the blame on us, on what we say and how we react to our citizens being slaughtered. Now, if we say the wrong things, if we don't kiss the ass of that group of people, then we are inspiring them to attack us? Is that the idea? I mean, explain.
Organization like ISIS to recruit people.
Right, so they're going to recruit. So if we attack back, if we call out the problem, if we say the Muslim word, then, that's propaganda for ISIS, and you gotta cater to the fucking maniacs in the room. Yeah, don't trouble them. Don't make the black kids angry. Please.
Right? And so,
not right, Anna.
Very easy to recruit people when
Now, here comes the blame. This is the self-loathing part. When you kill citizens, when you support Israel, when you invade Iraq, when you say it's all Muslims. Which one, Anna? Blame us, Anna.
Western governments.
There you go. Western government extended. Not just England. Now she's talking about France, Germany, America. Is it about America always? Is it fuck America and blame America's military? Please, just say Iraq. Just say the fucking word Iraq.
Are killing innocent civilians.
Civilians, drone attacks. Right.
In Middle Eastern countries.
Middle Eastern countries, yeah, just flatten that out. Whole thing out. Right, because all the Middle Eastern countries, they basically act as one. Yeah, they totally care about each other. I mean, yes, they are warring with each other all the time, but, if a guy dies in southern Iraq, a guy in Libya will kill a kid in Manchester. It all makes sense. Don't really worry about it. Don't try to connect the dots. It's like connecting the freckles on Copper Cab. It's never going to work. You're just going to end up with a mess.
Right? And just think
not right, Anna.
Context, right? And for
right. Oh, kiss me. I'm poking her mouth with my dog. Take that, you bitch.
1 second. Even if you're the most extreme when it comes to this issue.
Most extreme? What is the extreme when it comes to the issue of our people being slaughtered? What is the extreme position on that? Anybody, please? Am I going crazy here? It's 5:30 in the morning, and I'm listening to a hook-nosed wannabe Chola Armenian talk to me about an extreme position in reaction to indiscriminate men, women, and children being slaughtered in London. What the fuck is that, Anna?
Put yourself in anyone's position.
Think of the Muslims. Think of the terrorists. Think of the jihadis who are like, what the fuck, man? Your drone hit one of the people at the wedding, so now I'm gonna kill you. For Allah. I mean, it wasn't for that reason. ISIS literally sends out bulletins and articles saying, we are not doing this for geopolitics. We're not doing this for anything that any Western country is doing in any Middle Eastern country. We're doing it because it's a whole war, because it's Allah, and because you're infidels. And even if you gave up and, subjugated present yourself to us, we'd still fucking hate you. Because you're the infidel, you're scum. Okay, we believe in God, Allah. You understand? Muhammad, understand? Capiche?
Put yourself in these people's positions where you're living in a Middle Eastern country.
Oh my God, I cannot believe we are to this degree of Muslim apologetics. You guys, get inside the mind of the terrorists, okay? Like, they're freedom fighters, you know? Like our partners, Al Jazeera. By the way, Qatar just got cut off by Middle Eastern nations in terms of, I don't know, trade or funding, because they are supporting terrorists. Qatar. Now, let me connect the dots for you. Follow the money, follow the logic here. Qatar is Al Jazeera. That is a state-funded news organization. Al Jazeera is AJ+. AJ+ is partnered with the Young Turks. They do videos together, they promote each other. It's a union. It's an ideological and economic union. Now, what she's doing right now is, once again, my sister and niece and nephew could have been dead in the streets. There's no difference whatsoever. She's telling me to think about the Muslims. And in this context, by the way, this is not a moderate Muslim in Los Angeles who is like, this is not Majid Nawaz she's talking about right now. Do you understand what I'm saying? She's talking about a Muslim who would be inspired to kill people in the name of Allah. And she says, yeah, just if you happen to be that one perfect storm Muslim who, you know, you were just tending your flock, you were like a shepherd, and all of a sudden a drone was just like, you know, some dickhead guy in Pasadena was just like, let me kill a fucking Muslim. And he just dropped a bomb on your sweet daughter. She was just attending, you know, to the flock, and you saw her blow up, and then you thought, you know what, fuck this. I'm going to go kill some people in Manchester or London. Yeah, that's never happened, Anna. It's actually ridiculous and insulting that you would take this stance and that you have the nerve to, I mean, present this as a line of thinking. How dare you occupy the minds of your little lemming minion followers and suggest that this is somehow a coherent way of thinking in terms of this terrorist attack? It's not.
And a drone strike wipes out your entire family.
There it is. There it is. Oh, Anna, feel the pain. Oh, look at that. It's like she's an actress. It's like she's an LA bitch who's acting out the raw emotion of having your entire family droned to death. Well, Anna, just here's a speculation. Do you think these two guys had their families droned? Oh, no. One of them was from England? Yeah. Don't think that happened. It didn't happen. It didn't happen to the guy from Libya. No, sorry. This is a bullshit narrative. And it's one in which she's trying to blame us, the victims. It's to the point where they're so dense, they don't even know who's the good guy in the scenario. They don't know who like, have you ever talked to a kid and you talk about, you take a kid to a movie, and maybe it's an English thing, and they say, who are the baddies? I want to get the baddies. Who are the good ones? Who are the baddies? Okay? Anna, ISIS is the baddies. Okay? We're the good people. And she's not even sold on that narrative, by the way. It's not even a narrative, that's just the truth. Like, if we have to explain that to her, imagine how far back we have to go. It's humiliating.
How incredibly easy would it be for you to want vengeance and for you to join a terrorist organization?
And people say that calling them Muslim apologists is a stretch. It is so not. Right now she's saying, how easy would it be for them? Look, she's justifying this terrorist attack right now. What the fuck, Anna? You are so demented. You're so off base. It is... Jesus Christ. I'm actually sickened by this.
That also wants vengeance against Western countries. I'm just saying that as part of...
ISIS literally addressed this bullshit point you're making and said it's not bad. It's nothing what you're saying. I mean, for her to even try to connect the dots, there's information out. We know about who these people are. This is not their motivation. And the jihadists tell us every time. Every time. And then ISIS sends a letter and says, oh, by the way, just in case anybody's wondering, this is why this is happening. And it's not what Anna's saying right now. And it's nothing that we're doing. It's not our fault. Sorry, it's not our fault. Cut to Robin Williams talking to Matt Damon saying, it's not your fault. Matt Damon says, yeah, I know, it's not my fault. No, it's not your fault. Yeah, I heard you the first time. It's not your fault. I know, it's not my fault. It's not your fault. Anna, it is not our fault. Fuck ISIS and fuck the Muslims that keep killing us. And we're in a war. We should fight the war. We should win the war. Call Rambo.
You know, a comprehensive counterterrorism strategy that I think needs to be implemented, and unfortunately, we're missing the mark.
Comprehensive counterterrorism strategy. Anna, wow, put that on a PowerPoint. I'd love to see that presentation. How many slides you got? Dress up real purdy like. dye your hair, appropriate white culture a bit more. Blonde-haired Armenian woman? Don't think so. Yeah, what is your comprehensive counterterrorism strategy? What does it involve? Feeling the empathy of the innocent Muslim who we droned his family to death? And it sounds like a great plot to a movie. Why don't you write that? Let's see the screenplay, you LA dyke.
Because we're allowing our emotions to get in the way.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. I'm saying if you are going to be doing all that stuff, running around the world and stoking the flames of extremism.
If you are going to be running around the world stoking the flames of extremism, just straight up blaming us for doing what? For stoking the flames. The flames of Allah? The flames, I mean, what? They don't even recognize that these people are insane and that they have declared war on us for no goddamn reason. I don't even know which side they're on. Isn't that spectacular? I don't know whose side these people are on. They are enemies. They're enemies of the state.
Then you can't expect that, regardless of how much information you give, how many cops are on the streets, you will not be able to stop all the attacks.
You're not going to, right? But if you stopped doing that, which is not.
Stopped
I
doing
think
that.
this is a generational thing too. I think these are young men who came of age at a time.
It's always young men. Every attack and murder and killing spree, it's always young men, disproportionately by friggin' a huge margin.
Countries were being wiped out.
Countries were being wiped out. They were English, and the Charlie Hebdo guys were French. I mean, what? What is this? What are we listening to? I mean, it would be so great if it was just this. Yeah, wait a minute. So let's go back to 9/11. So the engineers, the Saudi Arabian engineers and family men who had, college degrees, you think they just decided to, well, yeah, you bombed my family goat in, Saudi Arabia, so now I gotta, blow myself up. It makes no sense. But yet, they agree with each other. They buy into it. Like, this is the same story they tell every time. It's us. It's us.
By war, and
that's all they've ever known.
And that's all they've ever known. And
oh yeah, poor people. Those poor Muslims. It's all they know. Can you blame them, really?
and there's
Yeah. Can you blame Jihadi John, who was again a college student from England who decided to go and decapitate people in cold blood? Yeah, in Syria. That seems to make sense. I mean, can you blame him? He grew up with, bangers and mash. He grew up with Piccadilly Circus and double-decker buses and Harry Potter. I mean, Jesus Christ, the poor kid.
not a tremendous amount of education where there is education.
Actually, with education, it scales up. So the more educated the jihadist, or how does that work? It works in reverse. It's not the way you would think it would. So it would be. I have to break that. It was like 61. So, the people that attack us are not uneducated. They're not people who don't understand their religion. They are people who do understand it. And so, it's a nice theory. It's like, oh yeah, they're just dumb and uneducated. No, it's not the case.
Education, in many ways, coming from people who are preaching exactly what they want to hear. So it's, and so I think it's a generational thing.
A generational thing? Yeah, kids these days with their suicidal, murder sprees. What the fuck? Generational. It's been happening every generation since the freaking 7th century.
I think it was just like with the Irish Republican Army.
God damn! Oh, we're going to take a moment's silence now because we're 10 minutes, 21 seconds in and the Irish Republican Army. So after blaming us, after blaming and criticizing the British authorities for not stopping this, apparently they were supposed to magically have a pre-crime unit, after not mentioning who these people were, or, took you 4 minutes to say the word ISIS, and you never said Muslim or Islam, that's off the table. The people who did this, they have remained anonymous. You've mentioned white supremacy, you've mentioned Donald Trump, you've mentioned George W. Bush, you've mentioned drone strikes, and now what are we at? The IRA. Of course we're at the IRA. Tell me about the Irish Republican Army from the 70s or 90s. Early 90s or 70s, your choice. Which one?
On some chill shit. We go 0 to 100, nigga, real quick. Maybe on that rap and pay the bill shit. Now I'm this shit, not even a little bit.
There's nothing unique about this attack.
Fuck all that drink, you gotta chill shit.
Yeah, there's been other acts
I
of
be on my
violence all
little
throughout
mouse drill
history.
shit.
Remember that one time that
Fuck all that
caveman
rap to
picked
pay
up
your
the
bill
rock and
shit.
hit the other caveman?
I'm on some
Unbelievable.
rap to pay my bill shit.
What the
Zero to one and nigga real quick.
Generations where this happens, people come up and
Squad on that real shit. Zero to one and nigga real quick.
Really, a fuck Israel in here. Okay, cool.
Real fucking quick, nigga. Zero to one and
Yeah,
nigga
no,
real
you know what's similar about Israel and Palestine? It's insane Muslims who are genocidal and murderers. That's what it is.
Real fucking
By
quick,
the way,
nigga.
Al Jazeera Plus just did a video where the video was called like Israeli soldiers mock dying Palestinian girl. That was the headline. You come to find out in the video, yeah, they said die. The guys were saying die and suffer, like die you bitch or something like that. I wonder why. Anybody venture a guess as to why they were saying that to that girl? She had just stabbed them. She took out a knife and was stabbing at them, trying to kill them. And they shot her and said, fuck you. Then, by the way, they saved her life. Took her to a hospital on their dime, on Jewish dimes, shekels, and saved this murderous bitch's life.
He ain't show.
And they probably gave her aid,
Valuable lesson, man. I had to grow.
fed her, and
That's
will
why I
nurture her
never
back
ask
to
for help. I do it for you niggas and do it for myself. I go 0 to 100 nigga real quick.
So I don't know that anything, I mean, it sounds terrible, but I don't know that anything. I don't think rhetoric, I don't think changing practices.
Yeah, what can we do? What can we do? We're all the victims here. Yeah, we can't find a solution. Well, you weren't even talking about the problem. So, yeah, you're a little bit tricky. It's like running a race. You don't know where the finish line is. But, oh, you want to win. How can we win the race? Well, should we get to the finish line? What finish line?
I really don't.
What does effective mean? I mean, cutting down some percentages.
Yeah, but I don't think rhetoric is going to change any minds.
You know what's not going to change anything? The shit that we've been doing so far.
Oh my god, she picks that up from Jen. It's so crazy. Like, what a simplistic worldview they have. They think that if problems continue or new problems arise, that somehow invalidates everything you've ever done up to that point. And I equated this to like going to the doctor. If you get sick and you go to the doctor and he gives you some pills and you get better, and then you get sick again, and then you go, well, whatever I've been doing, I mean, I went to the doctor and I took pills and I try to, eat right, but I mean, I guess that's not working because I'm sick again. It's dumb as can be. Absolutely, insufferably, fucking malignantly stupid that she would say that. She's like, I don't know, I mean, what can we possibly do? I mean, we should just eradicate our military or something, because I mean, we really need to think about that poor shepherd in fucking Pakistan.
That's not going to change it.
Right. But it's not going to change the desire. What I'm saying is,
Real quick, whole
I
squad on
don't
that
know
real
that
shit. 0 to 100 nigga real
terrible job.
quick.
It sounds horrible.
We're not very terrible. Do you understand that something terrible happened to us and continues to happen? And this is what I said after Manchester. It's what I said every time. Charlie Hebdo. You name it. It's the same story playing out. That's why our frustration grows with every time. Because it's the same group. It's this kind of mentality. And by the way, I know it's not just these three fucking yokels on this rinky-dink fucking amateur YouTube show. I know it's not them. It's the disease of their weak mindset. That disease is rampant, and I see it everywhere. And I see it especially with women. I'm looking at you, most of my audience, 90% men. Women tend to do this. There might be biological, social reasons for this. They refuse to accept what the fucking situation is until it hits close to home. And then finally, maybe you can say, you know what, enough's a fucking nut.
I don't know that the people that are fighting this are doing a terrible job.
You've said that 4 times, and nobody is debating whether, you know what we should really do? Crack down on the goddamn British police. Why aren't they stopping every single bad thing from happening in England? I mean, Jesus!
Fuck all that Drake, you gotta chill shit. I be on my little mouse drill shit. Fuck all that rapper pay your bill shit. Yeah, I'm on some rappers pay my bill shit. All up on TV, I thought it made me rich. Wasn't paying me enough, I needed something quicker. So now I'm all in Nico Pace, putting working on the phone. Either that or try the money more to make a pickup. Man, it's 2008, I'm trying to pay the picture. Comeback season in the works, and now I'm thinking bigger. I got 40 in the studio every night, late night. Gotta watch this shit, don't wanna make them sicker. That's my nigga, hold on. Gotta hold out the show for it. I mean, we can really get it, we can go for it. I'm just here for the bucks and the billies, nigga.
Let's take it back to that one time.
Don't make me kill one of the ghosts for
Uncle
it.
Janky told us about that.
I run this shit, they like, go for it.
Military
Run
bag,
for it.
yeah. violence bad. Downplay the violence when it's from one of the browns, but when it's whites, then show him full screen. Do you want to know what their video was the other day? They did a video about the Portland terrorists. They called it. The guy in Portland who stabbed two people. It was just an incident where one guy, acting on behalf of himself, killed two people. They show a close-up of his face. Now, in and among, they didn't show the picture of these two guys. They didn't show the picture of the Manchester bomber. They didn't show the picture of the Orlando terrorist. No, they show a full-blown picture of him, and in capital letters on the thumbnail, it says, "This is what a terrorist looks like." White guy from Portland. Unreal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Real
not at all. And militaries abroad, I mean, we've gotten used to being a nation that is military abroad everywhere.
Why are you talking about our military abroad? Are you fucking demented? Like, you want to talk military? Let's send our military into ISIS headquarters and all of their strongholds and destroy them. And do it now. Before the impeachment trial. Just do it. Just fuck these people up. I'm sick of it.
And that was a post-war.
Imagine how I feel to watch another nigga at the top. You know that if it wasn't you,
our relationship post-war with Japan and Germany really didn't go well,
from that perspective, I see what you're talking about. No way to soften it. See, I was trying to find out where I lost him at, but maybe I ain't lose him at all. Maybe I keep moving forward and they're just stagnant. They ain't moving at all. When they need a favor, who do they call? Maybe I'm searching for the problems, asking what was said and who was involved. Too focused on people's feedback and proving them wrong. Say the shit can always fit no matter who put it on. These days feel like we're squeezing in the country's weather warm before. Just wasn't thinking big enough, I'm about to leave them with them. Cause if I run the game in these, man, it seems to split it. No pun intended, but they smelling defeat in the air. Headed where nobody took it, who meeting me there. They tell him that he talking crazy, but he doesn't care. Being humble don't work as well as being aware. Listen up, boy, you better all eavesdropping. We already got spring 2015 popping. P&B dropping, Reps so cheap dropping, Magic Jordan dropping, Obi dropping, not to mention me dropping. Feel like we paid the reps off and we fixed the game. Me and Noel been at it before Twitter names. Been on the move like the lease is up. And I can't even name one person that's
incredibly problematic.
Fuck how it was in the past tense. Ask yourself, how do we match up now? Cause I'm only 27 and I'm only getting better. If I haven't passed you yet, watch me catch up now.
Main reason why we keep.
And, it's also the prison system. The prison is for profit, and that's why we fill it with the blacks, because, we get the money from that.
Pushing for foreign policy that fails time and time again. When I say fails time and time again, I'm saying, amplifying wars.
Amplifying wars. Is that a technical term? No, Anna.
Countries that lead to hostility toward the United States.
Oh, right. Are you talking about Iraq again? Wow. That was a massive talking point when you were like, what, 10?
Lead to more hostility toward the Western world. And by the way, I know that there are people who disagree deeply on this issue.
Yeah. Everybody who's smart, Anna. Everybody who's not playing news anchor Barbie. Yeah.
Right. But if I'm wrong, please give me a solution. Please provide
a solution. What? It's our job to. Here's the solution, Anna. Well, listen to my video for starters. But name the problem. Okay? You're not even talking about the problem. You've criticized everybody but the people who did this. Don't you think that's the problem? You're the fucking problem. Your mentality is the problem. The more people we can get to understand what is happening in this world, then we can actually move to take action. Okay, preventative action to understand where the threat is coming from and then deal with the threat. And as far as ISIS, and by the way, this was ISIS, this individual event, I have major problems with Islam and jihadists all over the world and all the different terror cells. But as far as ISIS, we know a lot about ISIS, and we have a big-ass military. So why don't we put the fucking two together and go and kill ISIS? Why are we not in a full-blown war with ISIS right now? I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Solution other than what we've been doing so far.
Like Higgins has a solution later on the show, don't worry.
Right, we'll get to that.
Well, it's a defense department, not an offense department. So if people think of it that way, that would be better.
Yeah.
Wait, what? It's a defense department? Okay, what? We are being attacked and have been by ISIS for years. Jed, I haven't heard his thoughts on it. Okay, so hope you learned something. That was absolute fucking awful. I can't believe it has more likes than dislikes. Let me hit a refresh on that. Thank you. Thank fucking Christ it has more dislikes. That was absolutely as bad as I could have imagined. Seriously scandalous. And thank God there are people like me in this world. Thank God that my mom and dad had sex, because we need more people like me. We need a clone army of me. Is that possible? Is that doable? Please, can we get a science geek in here? Put a swab in my mouth. God damn. Talk to you later. A fucking crying shame. Is anybody watching me? I'm doing some research on this Texas deputy who was killed, saying that it could have been an attempted robbery, so just a normal, mythical house invasion.
Which don't happen very often, and if you do, statistically it's going to be a black person.
I'm looking at the guy, he looks like a real good old boy.
Is he white?
Yeah, white, blonde haired dude.
What, the guy that got shot or the guy?
Yeah, the guy got shot. Texas looking dude, sort of reddish skin, sort of. He looks like he might have a basement, like a dungeon. Something.
I ain't seen anything on the internet, you know. Actually, I should really.
Well, I mean, all these stories get buried so quick. It's so damn hard to keep track. Like, you know, we're done. We're done with the Orlando people, the Nice people, the Munich people. It's like, we've done that one. Next, I want fresh blood. I don't want to bitch about the victims and actually discuss what happened or how we can prevent it.
Shit, like, are you posting as me in there?
No.
Yeah, you
She's overtaking her ID.
She has. This is the weird thing I was saying the other day when I looked through my like watch or my history. I can tell my life has been on my channel because it's full of like anime and these weird videos that whatever it is. What is it then?
Malaysian face?
Whatever it is, yeah, just really weird.
Did you just call actual Malaysians anime characters? Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, they do. So yeah, that's kind of weird.
Well, why are you looking at Malaysian stuff? What's happening in Malaysia?
I usually just like hand paper.
Yeah, can I use my channel, please?
I told you remember the first time and then I go about my day.
Anyway, what do we have coming up today, like?
We have Tyler Preston, also known as Tyler Preston 20.
Yeah, he's an older convergence of ours. We've spoken to Tyler many times before.
But he's physically not old. His body is not old, his brain is not old.
This is true.
I refuse to say anything funny. I refuse to say anything funny or remotely intelligent until we get 100 people watching this. I have standards.
We should just sit here and wait. It's fine. Just dead air.
Are you drinking alcohol now even though you're sick? That's gangster. She does not let that stop her.
Just drink your way through it.
Most people do chicken soup. She's like, no, beer me.
Take just a little bit, will expect. There you go. 104 my bed. Say something funny.
I'll think about it.
Alright, so the plan is we're going to get Kyle on first. He's going to discuss, well, you told me what he's going to discuss later.
Basically, Kyle thinks that we shouldn't say as man has a problem with sexism towards women, that kind of takes attention away from the men, and that men and women are treated equally within the environment. He said a lot of
So Leica is an ex-Muslim person who didn't know that. So she knows what she's talking about. She's also written a book on this. So it should be an interesting conversation.
Okay, well, briefly tell me what else is going on in your lives, our lives. We had Anthony just brushed shoulders with the short and famous Tommy Robinson. And how many views has that thing had on Joe's channel?
About 2,000. Which is criminal, really, because it is one of the best interviews I've heard with Tommy Robinson. I'm not just saying it because I was in it. That obviously helps, but
that was the best part.
It was the best part. No, well, we sort of delved down a little bit. You know, we got into the mix where William got away from his talking points that he likes to, spit out on every interview. The fact that he has a dog, the fact that he's upbringing, which everybody's really heard before. If you've ever listened to a Tommy Robinson interview, he talks about that every single time. But no, we've got his thoughts on the Jigno Eyes and William and things like that, which I actually wasn't that aware of.
I listened to some of that stuff. He was saying that Majid's cause is basically the last one, and it's sort of, he doesn't even buy into it himself.
Yeah. And the one of the most interesting things that Tommy said was that when he was, I can't remember who said when he was invited to Cullen, but he had a lot of people coming up and asking him if he wants to kind of make money off it. And you can make money from doing that. You join his organisations, you get promoted, you go on speaking tours, you write a book, so on and so forth. And he was like, fuck that, I don't want to do any of that shit. He's not going to sell out. He's not going to lie, he's not going to pretend that the reform of Islam can happen, because he really doesn't think it will.
Does he still live in Luton?
So he lives somewhere near there, yeah, obviously his location secret, but yeah, he was talking about his wife and how he needs to keep his wife secret, his identity and stuff, and how the police fuck that out. So it was an interesting interview. I do encourage anybody to give it a listen. Somebody put that out. It's interesting.
Yeah, well, maybe somebody could edit out the parts where Anthony and Joe talk the highlights.
But anyway, he will be coming on this podcast at some point. I just need to arrange it. When we're going to do it. Might be the next one we do in 2 weeks or something. So we'll see.
Oh boy.
So that'll be a good conversation. We will definitely get him on track on that one. We'll end up not talking about the EDL or anything.
Yeah, it just sucks us back in. Imagine hearing him talk about rapes. That would be interesting.
Yeah. And this person. The Queen?
Is it?
It's pro-Queen. It's the only person I know that's pro-Queen.
I'm like indifferent with the Queen. I mean, I'm not against her, I'm not really for her.
I think a lot of people are just pro-Queen because it's the easiest path. I bet you my dad would actually... Yeah, but I mean... Yeah, but it's just for nostalgia's sake. It's like if you say you're anti-Queen, it's saying you're anti-England, basically. That's all. I bet you like the Second Amendment in America is the same thing. When they hear me say I'm against the Second Amendment, they hear you're kind of against apple pie.
Yeah, you will shoot the Queen.
Yeah, but the Queen is worthless, and for me, actually, she really jumped the shark during the Olympics in London. Her only job was to start the damn show. They cut to her, so billion people watching it. Well, right. But then they cut to her, and she didn't even smile. Not one smile. And she's thinking to herself, this is a moment I must be classy here. know the world is watching, this is how I want to present myself. It's amazing, right? I can't think of any other head of state that wouldn't even have a shred of joy. Like Hitler was smiling. And that, for 36, 38 games, whatever it was.
Niggas running like
33. No, 33.
It's 9:30 or something.
36 is a little too close to the action.
Anyway, see, this is, I want to bum you
That's a grip though, huh?
I don't know, it's a grip, I guess I would use the word bum, yeah. A lot of Americans can be at work right now, so this is short for the Brits.
It is. I heard a scream earlier today. Sargon and Scott.
Yeah, so
Bombarded the chat. Guess I myself up in the chat.
That's not a bad good these days, just streaming 24/7.
Yeah, he's gonna get a YouTube STD pretty soon because he's non-stop. And I don't know, it's weird because he's German, people are like, ooh, what's happening close to you? So you must know more, or your feelings are somehow stronger. Yeah, it's
That's what people want to do. Yeah, it's like something happened in my town and people want to talk to me about it. Like Austin, somebody killed Austin Rock in Texas.
Well, you know what, that makes sense. Well, now that I think about it, absolutely fuck all happens in Odessa, so and that's why nobody wants to talk to you. No, that's not there's a video we have today coming out, which I think this is the main talking point for me, is the obsession about the victim. So when you have a victim of mesenteria, it doesn't matter where it is in the world, it doesn't matter who the person was, if they're trans or not, if they're black or white. That's not the point. And to focus on the victims and the specifics of that one incident, it's almost scandalous. It's actually almost, it's not blaming the victim, but it's obsessing on the victim and losing track of the bigger picture.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Tyler just says it's straight, not gay. That's a surprise.
That's what he thinks.
Did somebody call him out?
We can talk about that. I don't know.
Somebody
we called him out a year ago.
Yeah, but
I still remember that conversation, dude, when we were talking to Tyler about anal sex. That was
what happened?
Fantastic.
But the thing is, if you're a virgin, what does it matter if you're straight or gay? It's like saying, Devin, which side of Mars would you prefer to live on? I mean, I don't live on either. I'm not going to. It's never happening, so it doesn't matter.
Yes. Alright, well, should we get Tyler on? Let's get Tyler on stage. We can just sit back and watch, don't we, this point? We can just talk throughout the chat. But we're going to do that, by the way. We're going to have a little segment where we interact with the chat.
Segment.
What do you want to call it?
It's so pretty. Your mind is so professional. It's amazing. These are the same people that I stand with joy from other animals. It's like, get out, walk up, bye, fuck off, don't care. And you're like, hey, people in chat, we got something coming up.
I make all rules, this ain't your game, this ain't your league. I'm up here, I'm a lie, you just a deer. So ahead, see where my mirror. So fuck you,
everybody, I want to know if Lakers volume is okay, because I want to hear what she has to say. And if you have a pronunciation problem with her, these Brits, these Brits are like, they've done improvement on pretty much the entire English language. So just run through me and we'll understand what she has to say. She's a crazy bitch, a motherfucker. Girl, who you kidding? I ain't Jesus Christ was a motherfucker.
It was a man. How do you spell that word?
In this video coming up, Stacey Dooley was talking to some Muslim Syrian immigrant, and she goes, "Wow, you're a true gent." And I was like, Stacey, this guy doesn't know what the word gent means. Come on. They say chivalry's dead, you're a true gent. The guy's like, not his head going, yes, you're hot. I have no idea.
Pay attention, high so loud, get the attention, cry so man, this time is missing money, long like an extension, just relax, kill that tension, I had that combo with the boot, I flow colder than the flu, give me a sweater and some soup, warm me up, wipe me down, let me in the air, hands on the ground, mad
ass niggas always wanna frown. When I rain the rain, his girlfriend's round. Now he mad, I'm still paid. When I stand up, your girl get laid. Why she bugging? Give me that raid. Her ass big, that's still late. I'm so bright, I'm a star. Tell me, have you seen my car? It looks like it come from Mars. When it
I've been blowing up lately. I got like 30,000 subscribers.
How many did you have before?
That was like 1,000.
See, that was when I was high school. That's why you got to protest early. When you see people getting unnecessary attention, contact your local authorities or YouTube or somebody, because we gotta put a stop to this number. This number is insane. Are you telling me you're almost half as good as me?
No one that far,
Jesus Christ! There's got to be some sort of a hacking scandal going on here, but anyway.
It was natural actually for me to get 30,000 subscribers. Oh yeah, very.
How many strikes do you have?
Like I have 2 strikes thanks to your video.
Yes, see, finally, some reason. Oh no, that does suck. Do you posted up my video? You just did a pure mirror job on it?
Yeah, like I just posted your video and I got strike for hate speech.
So brutal. Those motherfuckers are really evil, aren't they?
Yeah, man.
So your ego is just blowing up right now? And you think
no. I just voted the exact same way when I got 1,000 subscribers.
You do?
Yeah, I did.
So you keep the quality mediocre and just consistent?
Yeah, just keep it mediocre and then people just subscribe.
Yeah. I think that's what it is. You over-deliver. You don't want to get the expectations up. But I have nothing to do with this. Tyler and I don't talk. It's Leica and Tyler talk. So what's going on? Yeah.
I think Tyler's watched a video by Dr. Random Account that was idiotic.
Honey Badger?
No, it's that. Is he Scott? No, he's Northern, isn't he? He's a comedian. You kind of advert.
No. Oh yeah. Yeah. He's cool, but explain to us what genre of guy we're talking about. They're not just anti-feminists. They're what?
Some of them are mishandled. There's a man going their own way by choice.
And that way is the direct opposite way of vagina. Okay.
Not necessarily, just like people just don't want to get married. That's pretty much it.
Okay. Are you and there's overlap with the gaming community because it all sort of works together. They aid and abet each other. I want to sit here and play video games. Okay, well you're not getting pussy. Okay, well then call me a MGTOW. Sounds good. All right.
I would not doubt that some MGTOW actually do that. So.
Now, do you consider yourself an MRA type or a MGTOW?
No, I just call myself egalitarian. That's it.
So you do like labels?
I mean, I don't mind labels. I really don't.
But if it's a choice between your MRA or not, what do you say?
If I have a choice, I'll say MRA, but I don't call myself that.
Okay, so you sympathize with their cause and
yeah,
you're associated with them.
Yeah, like I'm friends with some MRAs and some MGTOWs, so I don't call myself an MRA though because I don't think I just advocate for just men's rights.
Where do you stand on the hot buttons issue of our day, baby fucking? Are you in favor?
I'm against child porn.
That's what I need. If I had a laugh like Tyler's, I'd get an instant 30,000 bump in subscribers. That's the secret.
Like, that's perhaps the dumbest thing that Amos has said out loud. Like it's just so stupid that he actually goes out of his way to support child porn.
Tyler's one of these guys. I remember one of his videos. He was like getting all foamy and enraged, and he spat on the camera, and like little piece of spit stuck on him, and he kept it up and uploaded it. So, yeah.
It looks like some guy that called you a neo-Nazi.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Well, I think you've called me an Islamist supporter, so it's hardly much better. And, okay, now in the debate with MRAs and feminists, who's winning? Like, where is it now after the...
I think it's the MRAs that are winning, not the feminists.
And how do you quantify that?
MRAs are turning into feminists.
Good, pray tell, continue, Liverpoolian. Liverpoolian?
Yeah, especially people like Dean Esme. Like basically last night on Twitter, he was just going off on atheists and just started to strawman atheists and say that atheism is the cause of Marxism and stuff like that.
I will be refusing to say the TH of DAT in honor of Tyler tonight, so if anybody wants to know, that level of ebonics will be applied. I heard Steve Shives do a video recently, his last video, where he said that the atheist community was a bunch of racists. It's like an inside joke between him and his fans, which is so great because he himself is an atheist.
It's just so strange because not a single time in the atheist community I ever experienced any kind of racism at all, so I don't know what he's talking about.
Right, I mean, how many white subscribers do you have?
I have no idea.
Like, it's a race thing on YouTube.
Like it's actually
you should do a poll, straw poll, to find out.
So, you watched the Dr. Random Account video?
Yeah.
Did you agree with that?
Yeah, in the video he was saying that we should not just focus on the women, but rather acknowledge that both men and women have the short end of the stick for Islam.
Hashtag rather.
He said that women are worth half a man. That means that men are punished twice as much as
Right.
You agree with that?
I agree that actually women are actually punished more than the men in regards to that punishment. That's not something that I agree with the doctor on.
What do you mean for which punishment?
Wait, can you repeat that one more time?
Right, so which punishment do men receive that is twice as bad as women for the same thing?
I cannot think of a single thing, really, again. Because I think, like, in terms of, like, any other punishment, like, you can say that the guys receive the exact same punishment, some of them, but there are other punishments, like, you know, allowing to beat your wife, that's actually worse than the other punishments. And another example, you know how people just throw the acid on the women, that's another thing that's actually worse than the guys. So I don't really agree with the doctor on that at all.
Women get hit with acid more. When it comes to stoning, women get it worse. When it comes to how harsh the law falls down on someone, the women get it worse again, especially in cases of adultery.
Right,
I don't know any punishment in which men get it twice as bad.
Yeah, I don't understand that statement either, because, like, I guess I agree with the general message that we should focus on both issues for both guys and girls in terms of Islam. However, I don't agree with that statement what you said in the video. I just agree with the overall message.
When you have feminism and people try and debunk feminism, you usually say with the wage gap, this problem is caused by women. In the Muslim world, these are problems caused by men. So why would you treat that like male oppression when it's completely their fault?
Right, like I don't think that that we should make it into like a gender issue, because basically when it comes down to it, people are in these extreme situations where they're living under these theocracies, and that's why people are actually experiencing these punishments, and that's why women are experiencing worse. And so I think overall that people should actually focus on both issues and not actually just focus on one issue.
Do you think we should focus on homophobia in Islam?
Oh, definitely. Like, have you not seen the videos of
why are you turning it into a homophobic issue?
I'm not making it. I think people should focus Islam as a human issue, not just as a straight issue, not as a gay issue, just as a human issue.
Multiple issues, so you can have a problem with the homophobia, you can have a problem with the women's rights, you can have a problem with the pedophilia.
Right, like I have a problem with all of them.
It's not like a one issue thing, and I don't get where people have said, you know, Islam's bad towards women, and then your group have gone, oh, but wait, what about the men too?
Well, yeah, because, like, I mean, like I said earlier, like the punishments for the guys, some of them are actually the same as the women, but we tend to talk more about the women because they are the ones that are actually getting it worse. And so the main point is to say, you know what, the guys are having it as bad as the women too, so let's do something about it too, instead of making it into a male issue, a female issue, or a gay issue.
Well, when you have someone killed in Islam for being a boy, so under Sharia law, they're usually a criminal, so they're getting killed because they've killed someone, or they're getting killed because they've raped someone. In Islam, when a woman gets killed, it's for a stupid reason.
Right, like, basically, if they were to be caught, like, if a person were to get raped, and then, like, they want to do a trial, like, they're actually worth half than a guy when it comes down to getting a trial, and so that's how they actually get it worse. And I think that, in terms of those punishments, it actually is worse for women.
Okay, it's just that you've been tweeting all week that they have it equally.
Well, I guess what I was trying to do on Twitter was that I want to say that overall it's a human issue, that we should not make it into a woman issue. That's what I was trying to say on Twitter.
I don't know what to make you go in that direction, because there are inequalities in the Muslim world, and it's more on the side of women, and then when they've been brought up, you kind of try to make it a men's issue too.
But isn't that the pattern that always happens due to our MRIs or sympathetic to MRIs? I mean, all they're doing is raising consciousness that men have problems too, and they kind of, to me, it sounds like they just get irritated because they're like, oh god, here we go, the women are getting victimized again, poor women.
Black Lives Matter, when, like, you know, people are killed for being gay, the Black Lives Matter people are like, hey, wait, look at us, we've got problems too, yeah?
Yeah, no, I mean, but Tyler, I think what he said is, seems like you agree that he says women have it worse in the Muslim world, but we shouldn't forget that everybody has it bad in the Muslim world. I mean, it's all a matter of what you're talking about at the time, and if you spend your whole time talking about that one aspect and ignore the other part, but I don't think that's what he's doing, at least not now.
Right, like, I acknowledge that the women actually do have it worse, but I don't want it to make it just a woman issue.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys, they seem to have hostility towards women. Where do you stand on that, Tyler?
Like, I think people should just treat people like people, really. Just don't treat someone differently just because they're a woman.
There's some stuff you said that, like, you don't think Islam's got a rape culture?
Well, that comment, basically, I'm just trying to question, like, the whole idea of a rape culture in Islam, because why would a rape culture actually, you know, go out their way to punish the rapist? What? If it's really...
They don't, though. That's the point. Like, the people... there was people in, was it Dubai or whatever, some foreign white chick got raped and then she got thrown in jail for it. And, like, yeah, that's pretty effed up. I mean, it's almost like you took an American talking point and then tried to staple it onto the Muslim world. Because in America, we do punish our rapists, and the crime, you know, the jail sentences are pretty severe. Nobody's in favor of rape here.
There's a woman in Saudi Arabia, and she got 200 lashes. I think she got away with it, she got pardoned eventually, but she got given 200 lashes for being raped, just because she went outside with someone who wasn't related to her.
And, you know, we're speaking in generalities. The Muslim world is huge, but if you want to get technical and go by the book, it's definitely a rape culture. If you want to talk about ISIS or the worst cases like Saudi Arabian places, yeah, you got a great case.
You've got countries where it's like 25% of the population openly admit to raping women.
And what's the thing about not being able to rape your wife? So, like, once you're married, it's just like,
it's not even rape.
Right, that's a problem. So why would you be resistant on acknowledging rape culture in the Muslim world? Is it because then you have to sort of acknowledge that rape culture is a real thing that exists? And then the feminists would have you?
No. Like, I guess my main point is just basically, like, in a rape culture, like, there will be no kind of consequences for those actions in regards to rape. And so, even though it might be arbitrary compared to our system, for example, they still would, in a general sense, go out their way to kill the rapist if they were to commit rape against a woman.
If they wanted to go out of their way to kill a rapist, they would allow DNA tests that prove whether or not a woman's been raped.
Well, the Muslims in Cologne didn't seem to go out of their way to punish each other for their rape. They were pretty high-fiving each other.
Right, I guess it kind of depends on the country, really.
I've never heard of a story of Muslim judge comes down severely hard on a rapist. I just don't think it happens. I think these things are thrown under the rug far more often. You know, with honor killings and how people treat their wives. And I mean, this is what leads to the burqa. The whole reason for the burqa is to avoid tantalizing the men to rape the women.
That's another thing you said the burqa demonizes men.
Well, in a sense, they do, because if a person were to put on a burqa, for example, they would assume that the guy would actually rape their women, and so that's why they actually put the burqa onto the women.
That's what men use as a defense when they rape a woman. Oh, she wasn't wearing a burqa, or if it's the ankle, or she shouldn't have been outside on her own. This isn't something that women have manufactured. This is coming from men. Islam comes from men. It doesn't come from women.
I know, but like at the same time, it's also saying that men are gonna just rape you if you don't actually have it on too.
Yeah, because that's what the men have said.
Okay, but Tyler, let me ask you point blank: who is the worst representative of humanity, men or women?
Oh man, that's a tough one actually. I have to think about that one. You are joking. No, I'm not joking, but I'm dead serious, by the way.
But I think he is so entrenched in his defend the men sort of stance and anti-feminism that he's trying to stick with the same talking points even when we go off into despicable behavior exhibited by men in the Muslim world.
I mean, if you're in a country where there's 25% of the men are raping women, and you're saying, oh, well, this burqa demonizes men as rapists, they're actually raping people in this country.
There's a reason for it. It's not just some arbitrary thing.
Yeah, we've given them that label because it's true.
Yeah.
It's like wearing a beekeeper outfit demonizes the bees.
But yeah, in those societies, you can say that the men are actually worse than the women. Though I don't like to just say one gender is worse than the other gender.
In America though, actually I was listening to Bill Maher on Real Time, and he's like, I'm in favor of bringing over 100,000 Syrians, so long as it's just the women and children. And it got applause. I mean, it does make a lot of sense. And it's not just rape, it's the violence. You know, it takes a very rare to see a woman commit an act of violence or a terrorist attack.
Yeah.
Especially like a lone wolf woman.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that. I mean, you have the thing in
female terrorists that I know of.
Well, you had the suicide bomber in California, but she was acting with her husband. So I mean, you know, they're obviously working in.
I mean, I want Tyler to admit that he gets annoyed by the feminists out there and people who discuss the victimhood of women. Does this irritate you?
Of course.
But isn't it also you trying to score points because, like, ooh, I'm not a woman, so I want to be special too. You know, talk about.
No. It's like it's something different for me. Like I don't want to victimize people in general. I don't think people should be categorized as victims at all.
There's a problem you go too far though, because at the minute you're downplaying the extent of Islam on the women population. And it seems like there's a bias there, like because you do like this men's rights activist stuff, you don't want to admit that men are doing bad things in another country.
I mean, don't get me wrong, they are doing terrible things, yes. I don't want to just say, well, they're doing it because they're men.
Okay, but the men, regardless, are still doing this. It's like with black crime, they're not doing it because they're black.
Right. Yes, it's still happening. Like, it's actually getting worse thanks to Black Lives Matter for the last few days.
Yeah, I think it's weird though for me because I don't think I've ever heard of somebody who's critical of the Muslim world, but only from a feministic standpoint. Like when you hear Ayan speak, she's not saying we gotta come to defend the women of the Muslim world exclusively. She's more than ready to tolerate about all the atrocities being committed.
I just don't see the problem with saying, oh, it's got a specific problem with sex.
Yeah, I mean, because the anti-freedom stuff that they do, and every other thing that they're punching people for, women get punched for all that too. But even more. It's not.
I just don't think. Yeah, I just don't think Muslim men.
What's on your mind?
I don't know. You mentioned black lives matter. It just slipped out. Black men. Muslim men having a hard time in Saudi Arabia. I don't know. Yeah, they probably do. But like, almost is so wrong.
Yeah, of course they are.
You know, why are we talking about that when it's clearly a misogynistic, ideology in itself? And I don't know. It just seems like sidetracking. It seems like talking about problem B to me.
More importantly, Tyler, say the following sentence: I'd rather have a radish.
I'd rather have a radish.
Well, I mean, look, I think we're in agreement. I mean, I don't know the type of videos Tyler makes, but the man's clearly anti-Islam.
Right, like I want to make perfectly clear that I'm not for Islam at all. I think Islam is perhaps the worst religion in the entire world.
These arguments that you're making downplay the extent of the problem is.
It's the emphasis point, and she's wondering if you calibrated your criticism of this thing correctly. If you were to break it down by, how did the Jews do in the Muslim world, how did the elderly do, like, there's different.
It's like if someone brought up anti-Semitism in Islam and someone came up to them and said, don't talk about anti-Semitism, look at what Muslims do to Christians too.
But the thing is, the one point that could be made is, who cares who has it worst? It's all bad. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's where we need to focus our efforts though. If this thing is particularly bad, maybe that needs more time, more focus.
I agree that if you were to try to downplay how bad it is for the Jews versus the Christians, you'd be totally lost. You're not understanding the actual situation. And it's also revealing your own personal biases and what matters to you personally. Because you're in battles in America over the same issues, but it's some of the same buzzwords, but it's just a totally different set of rules.
So, is this conversation done? We're moving on.
I'm not
sure. Anthony, what is your stance on this? You've listened to it?
I think it's I don't understand why it even needs to be talked about. Really, I see it as I don't know why. I mean, men's rights generally. We talked about this last night, and I do advocate that men generally get it shittier than women in the Western world, and it's clearly the same in Islam, right? But we all know this anyway. But there's way worse problems going on with women in the Islam world than there are with men. Men are the instigators of the problem. So why are we talking about them being oppressed or?
I want to get back to then this discussion about who's winning the battle between MRAs and feminists. How would you go about quantifying that discussion? Because there's no debates. We don't have the creation debate between the best MRA and the best feminist. So how are you keeping score on this?
Most accurate point. Men can point to here's a specific right or protection under law that I don't have but you do.
Yeah.
But women can't do that.
If you post up a video that's pro-egalitarian or sort of sympathetic to MRA, how many likes, dislikes is that going to get? You're not going to get a sea of feminists coming in and downvoting it, because they would get harassed off the internet basically, and their counterpoints would be eviscerated in the comment section. And then again, if you post a feminist video, it gets bombarded and destroyed. Is there any feminist video online that is not littered with dislikes? It's just, or it's private, such private, or it just hasn't been seen by a wider audience. Well, that's the only way to tell. And that being said, there's not that many feminists on YouTube. I would imagine we're completely outnumbered.
Yeah, it's just falling for the anti-feminists.
Who's the majority?
Feminists?
The majority on YouTube?
Of the population?
Oh. Yeah, so maybe we're just talking about a YouTube problem. I'm sure feminist rhetoric could go over well on Facebook or Instagram or wherever else.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I almost feel bad for these dudes that ran the camera. I mean, Because what are they trying to do? How do they even measure if they've done anything, if they've achieved anything with their targets?
I think it's more of a venting system for them to just get their feelings out there, and that's it. I think they know it's not going to make a difference.
I do think that they've gone too far though. They're at the point where I find them equally ridiculous as they do with feminists.
And why? Support that clan.
They've got like people dying over whether or not the woman is wearing a burqa. It's a woman who's getting beaten by a dad because she went out without a burqa. And they're saying, hang on, I think the burqa is bad for men. Who aren't affected by it in any way whatsoever.
It's a ridiculous talking point, I agree. Tyler, have you fallen asleep? Are you like a horse that is standing up but sleeping?
He said he was going to be right back.
No.
Like, MRA seems to get regressive, where, like I said with the Black Lives Matter, and they're pointing at gay people who have literally been killed.
It's almost like they're obsessive, though, because I don't know. It's a strange thing. I feel like most of that entire debate is people talking past each other.
It's both want to be victims.
Yeah.
Both be victims in any society. Where I would say that this society in the West is geared towards a tiny oppression on men. I wouldn't say it was substantial enough where I would become a men's rights activist.
I think most of this is basically pointing out the hypocrisy of your opponent. So if women get up there and say, we're against rape, when the men get up there and go, well, men get raped too. In fact, it happens more in the prisons, and why aren't you talking about that? And they go, well, because I'm not a man in a prison, I don't give a fuck. But they won't ever say that. They'll say, well, that's not my thing. I want to kind of play the victim role.
Yeah, I don't believe you.
Yeah, and then it just becomes this weird thing. I would never think that a feminist would throw men getting raped in the prison. It's just not their cause. It's the same thing as the Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter debate.
I think
Where, well, all I'm saying is that we point out the hypocrisy of Black Lives Matter focusing on such a small portion of the death of black people and ignoring what seems to be a glaring blind spot in their argument, which is the vast majority of why black people are being killed.
I'm back, sorry.
I think people tend to, if a woman does something bad, another woman might be more likely to defend her. And I see MRAs trying to defend the worst shit in humanity because it's a man doing it.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting thing because the feminists, once you start talking about Islam, they get fucked too. They don't know how to talk about Islam. So the MRAs don't know how to talk about Islam either. It's like this.
The MRAs apologize for it. Just the feminists do apologize for it.
Oh yeah, they do. Like, there's this one girl by the name of Lawrence Penny who says that criticizing Islam is racist.
Yeah, she's a fucking idiot. I know what you mean.
Yeah, it'd be very strange. It'd be like, let's say I'm talking about black crime in America, and then somebody comes to me with, Devin, over in Russia, the majority of criminals are white. And then I go, well, I don't want to talk about that. I don't know, it's blacks. Like, no, you have to shift your understanding of each given situation.
Yeah.
But people get so stuck to those points, and they just identify with them. They're just entrenched in their souls. Must defend the men.
I don't even know how you could be a men's rights activist. The genital mutilation, I think it's a bit too far to go with genital mutilation.
Oh no, here comes Anthony. Penile inferiority complex coming.
Well, the thing is, right, Devin's not, I'm the only one here that's a father, right? I have a boy. And you go, yeah, you can smack the leg. If you go through that, I mean, I was not circumcised because I wasn't going to get my son circumcised. So,
the culture of it.
Right.
Maybe it is. Yeah, it's a fantastic thing.
Do you take pictures of it nightly?
No.
I want to see what, like,
let's just say it takes after his dad. It's tiny.
It's got a log. Big yellow log.
As far as like I said, as far as I'm not, I would never. I mean, a men's rights activist in the Western world is, like you said, like they're pushing it a little bit far. But there are some issues that men face that women don't.
Yeah, so it's like 3 issues that I can think of. Only one is an actual right, and you can't even compare the two because like FGM compared to circumcision, it's 2 different. One is close to the other.
But I'm not comparing circumcision of boys in the West to FGM.
Yeah, but that's what men's rights activists do.
Right, well, it's not.
They'll say like, oh, well, women, you know, they have laws to protect their genitals. I don't have laws to protect mine.
Yeah, it's just an eye-rolling situation because the feminists, women and people defending or who are against FGM, they look at that and go, oh my god, you guys are really going to bring up circumcision again? Like, seriously, you need to, like,
you have a bit of skin to talk. A woman has the ability to enjoy sex taken away from her.
Like I said, it's like the 2 things are not comparable.
Yeah.
But there still is an issue there. And I mean, circumcision's like, yeah, I agree with that, it's not that big a fucking deal. Yeah. But there are other issues when it comes to, like, you know, when you go through divorce, when you go through divorce and the kids and the money and the alimony and all that kind of shit, it's well stacked in the women's favour, especially in America.
Yeah, but at the same time, men don't ask for, they don't push to have full-time custody, or they don't push to have half.
So is that what MRAs are doing then? Is that what they're trying to achieve?
They're saying that the courts are unfair, but the men do ask for less time with the kids. The courts are unfair because that's what men are asking for. If you think about it, men are more likely to be the ones who bring in the money than the ones with the job. They don't have time to look after the kids, so they'll just ask for a weekend. And then the men's rights activists say, oh, well, the court was unfair. It's like, no, that's what it's like with the wage gap.
But there will have been instances of that being unfair, where they want 50-50 custody, but
the courts work that whoever takes care of the kid the most is the primary carer, which means that they're more important to the kid than the other parent, because that parent has put more time in and can show that they've put more time in. So if this mom's been raising the kid 5 days a week, and then it comes to court, the court is going to say, well, she gets to continue seeing him for 5 days a week.
Of course, in that respect.
But that's just the way it goes.
But you can't argue. You must agree that. I mean, I'm not too sure what it's like in England anymore, but in America specifically, specifically in Texas, the courts are heavily weighted towards the woman's side. Like the woman has to be like a.
They say when they're shown to it time again, they're the best carer of kids.
There are good reasons for that. It still is a valid issue for men, but it's just the scale of it. Here's how my impression of all this, because all these issues are not mutually exclusive. They all exist. It's just a matter of what are you giving time to. Here's my impression of the whole debate. I'm special, talk about me. No, I'm special, talk about me.
Yeah.
Well, here's a huge problem, let's still talk about me. Well, here's an unbelievably minor problem, let's talk about me. It's just, it goes back and forth, and it's weird. It seems like an emotionally based discussion. Not this one, but in general. It's just sort of like, I like me, let's talk about me.
There you go, see, Nick just said that he won custody.
Yeah, you can win custody.
Well, yeah, you did go out there stripping. Cinnamon is not awarded full custody.
He's also a police.
Yeah, he's stable as hell. His dream elects to tase a dude.
I know. Yeah, so I mean, that's my thoughts on MRA.
I mean, I just think there's a lot of anger in between those two camps. I don't see a lot of reaching out with an olive branch. Like Tyler, do you have feminists come on your show?
Yeah, I actually talked to feminists on my channel before.
And how'd that go?
Oh, that went out pretty fine. There was no real kind of major disagreements when I was talking to some feminists. Like the feminists I talked to were Shayra, I'm not sure if you guys heard of her, but she was also featured on Amazing Atheist. We was also talking to Steve Shive. And I also talked to the Skeptic Feminist channel, which they're kind of okay, but kind of loony on some areas.
Yeah. Shayra, she talked to Shives, but didn't Shives block her or they hate it?
Yeah, they actually block her.
Okay. So that gives her instant credibility in every community on the planet. I would like to see that debate. But I think she was criticizing Shives too, because Shives ran into this Islam issue and didn't know how to transfer these talking points and incorporate Islam into it. And it becomes very apparent. It's like, wow, I see that your arguments are not that watertight.
He was basically saying that he does not want to punch down on the Muslims, which is kind of stupid.
And bigoted.
No, race.
See, I don't want to criticize these people.
Like, would you have any interest in talking to feminists or arguing?
A lot of my friends are feminists, so I end up arguing with them quite a lot.
Don't you find there's a lot of agreement, and it's just sort of the scale of the thought?
I've got this, I don't know, it's like if we're in a society that's been pro-choice for 100 years, it's completely irrelevant to still be pro-choice in modern day times. There's no point in you being a feminist if our society is equal now.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's redundant. Yeah, it's like,
a lot of people use it as like a scapegoat, like I couldn't do this thing, or this thing happened to me because I'm a woman. They just want an excuse, something to turn to where they can say, that's not my fault, that's the fault of society, and it's because I'm a woman.
Yeah, I think that is the underlying thing, that it's very uncomfortable to acknowledge that. If all of your causes have to do with you, like you personally benefit from playing this role or scratching this itch, it's kind of telling about you. I remember going to college and I'd look up on the walls of like the women's studies courses or the black studies, and it's pictures of black people or women. You know, it's like you might have one guy in there, and it's like, oh, that's interesting.
You have a vested interest.
But like I almost, if I look at a wall and it says black studies or African American studies, and I see an Asian dude, that's the guy I want to talk to. Like, this guy probably is interested in this subject for legitimate reasons. He's not just there to serve himself. You see what I'm saying? Now, there are other ways that people can take those courses to, you know, I mean, male feminists, for example. This is a repugnant brand of human. I mean, this is weakness personified. And I can't stand those people. You know, it doesn't get much worse than Steve Shives.
I think it's because of his wife, really. Like, basically his wife probably made him a feminist, and that's why he's a feminist.
Yeah, and I don't understand the anger. Like, you're talking about the skeptic feminists. These fucking little bitches, they are against me. They don't like me. And I have no idea why. Like, I'm just an average guy who, like you say, I believe in women's rights, the whole thing. No, I don't call myself a feminist because I'm not insane. But there isn't a single thing that they could tell me that I'm not going to have the right answer for. You see what I'm saying? And yet, they still make me out to be doing it.
Yeah, well, I guess everything's the enemy when you're...
Yeah, and I think that's what it is. They need an enemy. If they don't have an enemy, what is the dynamic? What is their point? What can they talk about? So your enemy defines you, almost like in Game of Thrones. Well, I don't want to spoil it. But you do need a villain. If you have a story without a conflict, there is no story. And nobody cares. So they have to continue. They basically bolster their villain. They villainize men. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Do you know that in my video the other day I said Jank out-bombasticated Alex Jones, and I made fun of the fact that people were going to say, hey, that's not a word, and I'm like, I know it's not a word. Turns out it is a word. Bombasticated. Yeah. Some guy sent me a link. Oh god. Controversy continues.
How you spell the native word?
As it sounds.
It's in Urban Dictionary, that doesn't make it a word.
Urban. We got an urban representative right here from the B-Town. What do they call Baltimore? What's the nickname?
I don't even know. I just Bali, I guess. Sure, why not?
Bali.
Yeah, I mean, hey Tyler, what do you think of Michael Wood Jr.?
I never heard of him.
Ex-Baltimore cop, white guy, ex-military, total regressive. Talks about systemic racism in the police force.
I never actually read up on him.
Oh, really? He's kind of like that. He's going around the circles. Might want to look into it because he's from your hood.
Okay.
So, what is up with this SJW series you've been doing? What was the thought process behind that?
Okay, so what happened was, like, I watched a TJ video on, like, the question white men have for SJWs, and I got inspired to work with other people to do a series of my own videos like that. Like, I did, like, questions blacks have for SJWs. I did another one, like, questions ex-Muslims have for SJWs. Those kind of same kind of videos that you guys did on TJ's channel.
So, black questions for SJWs, is it just the same sort of questions, just coming from a black perspective?
No, there's a lot of different questions in the TJ video.
But is it all discussing race and how they treat black people, or the topic of race?
It's kind of like a mixture of, like, the SJW stuff and the race questions. Like, one of the questions that I asked was, like, why do you say that all white people are racist, for example?
Man, they're never going to respond to that.
And then another one I asked was, like, why do you say that black cannot be racist?
Yeah. I mean, but that's funny because it's a video that doesn't have a response, and it might as well be because there is no response to that. They don't. There's nothing they could say. I'd be interested if they actually attempt to respond to that video.
It's not going to be a response at all. Like, it's just really hard to answer those questions.
So you've been black knighting the whites? Is that what's happening?
Well, I've been called Uncle Tom and a Coon all the time when I make these videos against these guys.
Which guys in particular?
Like the black nationalist kind of people like Sensei, for example, or Ghazi.
You know what I love is the fact that some of these SJWs have done response videos, but like they take on the moniker. They like the name. Like, yeah, I'm an SJW, whatever. Here I go. You're my answers. It's all been too boring and pathetic for me to respond to. But I don't know. I kind of look at them and I think, that's sad. They know we're talking about them. It's weird. So, like, do you have any other concerns with Tyler's thing, or do you think it's? I mean, Twitter is not a good place to debate anyway.
If you want people to come to your way of thinking, and like, if they stumble across what you're saying, like I did it on your Twitter the other day, where women are being raped, and you're saying white men are the victims too, you're gonna come across as an idiot.
Well, you're gonna not be in tune with reality with it. It's gonna, yeah, you could, look, if you ask Tyler follow-up questions, he'll say, yes, I understand it's for men. But just in that one tweet, it looks like, wow, you are really looking at one very small portion of the world, aren't you? Nobody's like, the poor men, demonized for the birthday. Defend Muslim men.
Yeah, it's just really retarded. You just really look at it and doing shit like that.
Okay, but the only defense I could have for Tyler is, are you really mad at feminists? Like, is this something that enrages you on any level?
No, I'm not mad at feminists. Like, contrary to belief, like, I don't really get mad at feminists just because they're feminists.
Because, like, I'm not mad, but emotionally invested. Because I think when you talk to progressives and you try to get them to understand that Muslims have a different level of crime, some of these communities, or just their ideas of, real race, they cannot get past the idea that, no, I must defend people of color because of slavery. That is they're so tied to that, and it feeds them, it gives them such nourishment, that they cannot pry away from it, even when the facts are presented to them.
Tyler, do you feel oppressed as a guy in America?
No, I don't.
No. Is there any men's rights issue that you do?
Well, I guess the MRAs do have a point about, like, in terms of the draft, like, I don't like the fact that we guys have to register for the draft when we turn 18, so that's one point. Another point that
Why do you not think that's fair?
When is the draft?
Like when you turn 18 and you have to register for the draft.
Yeah, but that's over.
I know, right? But anyway, I don't like the fact that we do it in general, but the reason why I don't like that fact is because I think government should probably not tell people, force people to go register for something that they want to be a part of.
But isn't that exactly like you're saying, is that you sound like a feminist? Like, you're talking about the draft, it's not even around. That's like saying, don't you hate it how women can't vote? And I go, well, but that's over. They're like, yeah, but it used to be. It's like, yeah, but it's over. Well, what are we doing here?
That's the same problem.
No, but Tyler, I agree with you.
If I have to register for the draft, then why can't women too? Really?
Yes. What about sense is it? But like in Israel, men and women have to register for the draft.
Yeah.
And that's totally understandable.
I don't really think women should be on the front line. I think they're a danger to the men that they fight alongside.
Why? Because they're
weaker?
Weaker? Yeah, they are weaker. And that is an interesting debate. I'm not sure where the whole issue of women in the military is right now. What jobs in the military they actually do.
You've got the military changing the tests to make them easier so that women get into the military.
Right, because at some level, somebody on the ground has to acknowledge that there are differences between men and women.
Yeah, a woman has to carry her injured friend, all the way to the first aid station.
Right.
It's not going to happen. And the parent and a friend are probably going to die.
You guys are too young, but there was a movie called G.I. Jane that was done in there, and so she trained for this movie. She shaved her head, and she's going to show the world that women can be in the military and can do anything men can do. And it was this sort of raw feminist thing, I think.
Wasn't that like 8 years ago?
No, it's way more than that.
Okay, another point that I agree with the MRAs is the paternity fraud, for example. Like, I don't like the fact that women can actually get away with paternity fraud, so that's also a big issue. Another example, like you said earlier, was like the family court system that is actually stacked against men, so I don't like that. Paternity fraud, like basically when
the kid is someone else.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a problem. It's like a Maury Povich sort of issue.
Well, a dad can't get in trouble for saying that kid's not mine.
Right, and I also agree with them, like, on the fact that, in terms of, like, due process on the college campuses, like, it seemed to be really unfair towards guys, and so I also agree with that in regards to the MRAs, too. So, there's a lot of issues that I actually do, in fact, agree with the MRAs, and so I think they actually have some legit points in regards to the issues.
So why do you not call yourself an MRA then, if you agree with them on many things?
I think that both men and women's issues should be on an equal playing field. I think they should be focused simultaneously, so I don't call myself a feminist or an MRA, I just call myself egalitarian.
Is there anything you agree with feminists on?
Things that I agree with feminists on.
Short list here.
Shit. Well, in regard to the patriarchy theory, like, I would agree, like, there is definitely a patriarchy in the Middle East, for example, but I would not call, like, the states a patriarchy. I know.
I mean, I'd take any agreement with a feminist as a starting point because there's such a non-communication going on between these two groups. So just to say I'm against rape, they're against rape. They're against rape. We love that. We'll start there. Toxic masculinity. Okay, I can kind of see what you're going with, but the scale and who are you attributing this to and what do you want to do about it? And then it just gets into this raw hatred. Just fuck men. Like, okay, your last one.
Let's see another thing that I agree with feminism on. I guess, like, I wouldn't call it like a wage gap, but like more like an earnings gap because there's actually data that shows that women actually tend to not earn more than guys because of these differences in work, like in the workplace compared to the guys. And so I would probably agree with that on that.
We have a gap, but it's completely opposite women about why we get paid different.
Right.
So, like, not turning up to work as much, being more likely to go on a sick day than a guy is.
I like a sick, but she's putting the work right now. She's
special.
Fucking the trend.
I mean, those are the two things I could actually agree with feminism on, and like, I cannot think of anything else that I actually agree with feminism on.
So you think it's kind of geopolitical feminism where the Middle East does it?
Yeah, I think that that feminism is pretty much irrelevant in the Western world. I think, like, in terms of human rights, like, we should focus more on other places where there's actual real oppression instead of actually focusing on manspreading in the pink text.
I hate feminists because I think they make me look bad. And when they're complaining about games, it's like, well, I play games. They kind of, I have a problem with what they're saying about games.
Yeah, the whole entire series, like
trolling of the men's rights activists when they go too far. That should piss you off as much as feminists piss me off.
Right, like the whole entire series by Nia Sarkeesian just really is terrible. Like I went through those videos and every single last point that she made about video games is just awful.
I think, couldn't it be fair to say that the expression religion is, or the internet is the place where religion came to die? Religion, it's actually where feminism came to die. I mean, these ideas did not even come close to getting through the litany of counter arguments. They died. And so, yeah, Anita Sarkeesian, and look at her. She lives an existence in shame. She has to hide from debate. This is not winning. Do you think Christopher Hitchens was so worried about his positions on things that he had to say, I can't debate, no, nothing live, I need editorial control, no comments, No,
I remember like last year, like Mila actually tried to debate her and then she refused.
Right, imagine the ratings of that. Milo versus Anita, live, it's going to be broadcast, pay-per-view, whatever. What do you think the outcome of that debate would be? Destruction. And we all know it. We all know it. The Gamer Gators, you pick the top dude. You send whoever you want over there. And we smell that fear. And it's not just fear, it's weakness. And you smell it with the religious people, you smell it with the feminists, and it's because their underlying core of their arguments are, they just don't have merit, and they cannot sustain criticism.
Yeah, I mean, the feminists don't really get into debate, but men's rights activists, I haven't actually seen one of those debate a non-men's rights activist.
Oh really? Well, what is a non-men's rights activist?
Just someone who isn't a feminist, or someone who is a feminist.
I think, after hearing everything the men's rights people say, I mean, it's not like they're lying about their issues.
It's just a pathetic issue, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's the only counter case to be made. It's just like, if that's all you're doing with your life, is talking about itching about circumcision, it's like, well, but it isn't. And they're going to have, like Tyler here, he's aware of all the problems. It's just one of the things that he puts value in is talking about the men's rights issues. So I can understand the pushback against that, and I'm saying, like, well, it's minor. What's your problem? But for me, though, most of the time, it's indicative that something else is going on.
I don't understand how this entire, people can make entire channels out of men's rights activism. What the fuck do you talk about?
Well, basically, there's channels like one of my friends, Spinosaurus Ken, he basically try to argue against what the feminists say, so that's what he does on his channel. And then there are probably some other MRA channels that actually do the exact same thing, like Hannah Wallen, for example, and also Karen Strong.
I used to watch Stardust as a form of a YouTuber who was an anti-feminist. But then there's some shit that he's came out with that is completely... I can only think he's came to that conclusion out of hatred for women. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. And he prides himself on being scientifically accurate. But then he'll say, oh, women don't like to be raped because they're very greedy. What the fuck are you on about?
Yeah, it's a bit frustrating though, because where does that debate lead to in terms of the public debate on feminism? Where are we going with it? What has happened in the last 5 years on that topic?
Nothing. It's going around in circles.
Yeah, whereas it feels like there's progress on other things, like the atheist community. Where has it gone in 5-10 years? In 5 years? In 2 years? It's gone places. There's definitely progress. There's movement. You talk about something to death, and then you're done with it. You put a sword in it, and you move on. And that's reassuring. It's like, okay, we're actually being productive here.
Right, I noticed that a lot of more people in the atheist place, they basically trying to talk more about Islam than ever before. There's people like Krell, there's people like me, there's people like you, and then there's also all these ex-Muslim channels. And so I'm pretty glad that the atheist community is actually trying to focus more on Islam than Christianity.
Yeah, but even when moving on to Islam, it's not even a religious debate. I mean, that's part of it, and you can talk about the religious aspects to it, but really the debate about Islam is not about the doctrines, it's about the people, the type of person who would want to minimize or deny that problem. And oftentimes those people are atheists too. Oftentimes it's the Christians that are willing to say, wait a minute, these people are an effing problem. And it's the atheists, so therefore atheism has advanced so far that we're not even talking about religion anymore.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. It's a good sign. Unless you want to scrape up some, knuckle dragging Christian dudes just to have fun with them.
Yeah, it's like a 10-sentence argument.
Yeah, because I would hope that people get tired of rehashing the same winning argument. You've won. Now you're just beating a dead horse.
That's probably what you get a lot of non-atheists the other category of Christians, because we talk about issues outside.
Sure. Oh yeah. I think it'll be interesting if you stick to the same thing. You've won the argument. You're so happy that you're on the right side of this argument, but you keep doing it. Then what does it say? It says something like you actually at that point. It says that you just enjoy winning at something. So it's like playing a game of Monopoly with your kid sister. You cheat, but you win every time. And it's like, hey, you want to do another game of Monopoly? It's like, I want to scratch that itch again. I want to win at something. It's bullshit. And other smart people are going to see through that and be like, wait a minute. I hear some static. Who's that? Tony?
You call me Tony for
It's a term of affection.
Yeah, only because you're not here, that's why you call me. Are we done with this discussion?
Anthony's zoned out.
A little bit. I was looking at the chat, thinking about the balancing again. That called So Shit Like and there's another one, plays name comes up in a banner as well.
Unless he makes the perfect next comment. It's got to be
his next comment better be fucking good. And I will take into account the delay.
It's got to bring a tear to Anthony's eye.
Yeah.
That was the most beautiful sentence structure I've ever seen in my life.
Say it. Be a thumbs up.
Okay. Okay, well then let's before we leave with Tyler, let's hear Tyler's plans for the future, how you're dealing with your newfound and undeserved fame. Just describe all that for us.
I guess my plans is just to make more videos, basically, just make more videos and just be myself.
And how are you avoiding getting killed in Baltimore because you're black and
I don't live in Baltimore.
Close enough.
Like an hour away from me, though.
So it's flying too far. Be careful. Okay, well, how about your little brother? Is he ever going to make videos?
I don't think so.
He's not the type?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you ever do a live debate with feminists, let me know. I'll promote it. Because I want to see somebody try to put a nail in the coffin on these people. I think that would be kind of fun. Like, do you have any other curb stomps to drop?
No, I just think if you want to help the college, don't say stupid shit.
No, but here's the technique. The technique that honestly works. And it's probably, it was hard for you on Twitter, but what you should do is explain their side, the side you agree with, explain it really well, eloquently. So just be like, look, I understand the problems of women around the world, there's this, but then here's something else I'd like to raise awareness about. That might confuse the talking past people and reactionary bullshit that people tend to go through.
Okay. That's all right. Thank you for coming on, Tyler. I do appreciate you spending some time with us.
Hooray for Tyler!
I'd say subbing, but
yeah, no, I mean, let's not get crazy. But watch a video of his, give him a shot, and he's okay on a few things. So
the Flying Monkeys already know who he is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Tyler Preston 20.
Yeah.
Same on Twitter, I think.
Yeah, Tyler, what video games are you playing? What video games are you playing now?
I've been playing a lot of Resident Evil lately.
Is it the new one?
Yeah, the new one that came out on the PS4.
Did they actually go back to the original type of game?
It's actually in first person, like the PT demo.
Okay. That Allison Rowe got that.
But not the stupid shit. Yeah, I try to make a little sense. Niggas say they gonna get me when I see them. Never see me. Playing new handprints. If you ain't talking money, nigga, you ain't really saying.
Did he give me half-trail name this time? Son of a bitch.
He was late. Saw some side dudes, so fuck that.
Seriously, how many times can I explain?
He was like 2 comments in.
Yeah. Hey, I'm AMLC, I'm important, I'm a little yellow toe. Start off.
Okay, before I leave, I want to make it perfectly clear that I don't support AMLC on California at all, so... Okay.
That's it.
Alright, take care.
See, I can't really tell, cause diamonds covering mine.
Did you hear that exit sound? That's like something out of Star Trek.
Should we take some? Okay, I'm just gonna get my vape.
Okay, I'm just gonna unban how much you Oh, because he's more fun to be in the chat than not.
We got a guy who just wrote nigger 16 times? I mean, 15 is fine, but 16?
Got a small face, but it give me big things. Half a mile hallways, half a mile always around my crib. Y'all late, me and my niggas out here eating.
Okay, so what do we make of this Tyler encounter, close encounter?
I got bored, to be honest.
Did you do
I got find Tyler particularly engaging, so I zoned out a little and started reading the chat.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Where's that conversation going?
It's a bit
Not you,
He's basically had a lot of stuff on Twitter and then came in and changed his mind.
Yeah, I'm just so sensitive. So it's,
Could have predicted that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's the thing. What do I expect? I'm not expecting, it's not like chatting with you raise. You gotta take responsibility. It's gotta, life is boring. We just sit outside, watch the grass grow. Nothing's happening. You gotta make it happen. That's why I was trying to ask you questions and pry to the bottom of it.
exactly, yeah. That was interesting when you two talking. No offense to Tyler, but like I said, I don't find him engaging. Once he starts talking about it, I can't help but zone out.
But you know what it is? This is part of the problem, is that nobody wants to hear reasonable arguments. Like, here's a very well-balanced, reasonable take on some issue. It's just like, oh boy. That's why it has to be wrapped up in some sort of dynamic package, or just be extreme. Either extremely right or extremely wrong, or animated or loud. People they gravitate towards that. Nobody wants to hear just well thought out. I mean, honestly, that's why who goes to a library? You want to learn some facts, go to a library. The book is a slow pace, it's going to be factual and reasoned and turn the page and oh god. You'd rather hear a Valiant talk about what a Jew looks like. It's just, that is part of the problem, because people, they seek to shop. Like you'll get the most ridiculous yellow version of that, which is Amos. And how does he top himself? Who is there to hear what this toad actually thinks?
He's in the chat, we could ask him.
Oh, fuck him.
Amos, have you been literally honest about the child porn thing there? I'm hoping you're trolling.
Look, that's the whole point. What you just did right there? Yeah. That was his end game. He wants you to care what he thinks. Nobody cares. I could give a fuck what he thinks.
Everybody
on any topic.
Amos is a stupid. Never mind.
Oh my god, he's such a fucking...
Now he wants to debate you and it's just...
that's the thing.
I mean, look at why he's here. We need to realise why this guy is in our chat and we don't go to his chat.
I'm open to having him in the podcast.
What?
Not in a positive way. I mean, if it's going to come on, it's got to be a negative argument. But I'm open to the argument.
Remember when you asked me on direct message and I asked everyone and you know why?
I would sooner have a debate in a chat with a piece of dog shit that got stuck in my shoe. And just I'd peel it off and I'd be like, so, tell me about your day. I don't care. I literally don't care about a single thing this guy has to say. Fuck him. I don't even credit him with being worthy of my time. That's what's ridiculous. And it's ridiculous. I looked at the thumbnail for this. It's got TP20. And it's me standing next to TP20. Fuck. I get talked in with
I made that. That was, I spent an hour on that today.
Yeah, but you guys are below, and he's up there, like, what in the hell? Visually, that makes no sense. Like, watch, I'll do a rework that part.
No one really cares about Real Anthony.
I do.
I got 400 subscribers.
No, you hear that like that?
But you don't make videos.
Thing like we were talking about last night. But it could just be us three fucking talking like we were talking last night. We could have recorded that Skype conversation and I could have uploaded it to the channel. It would have been just as good.
No, you guys are invaluable to this podcast. For example, when I'm giving a brilliant sentence, there's sometimes where I have to stop and take another breath. So in those moments, you guys could chime in with a little something. Then I got the option back and then I'm back.
So like your cheerleaders? What you saying?
Well, you know, another thing is Devin has his own like laugh track with me. So if he makes a joke, he knows I'm going to find it funny. I'll laugh, and it's kind of validation for him. It's not just making a joke, but he knows other people laughing out.
No, but
you can hear it live.
Here's what it is. You guys have like a validation complex where you don't have a channel with a bunch of likes and views. So you think, oh shit, my worth as a debater or a person is up for debate.
I've only got 400 subscribers, but I think that's too much.
Yeah, but see, look, I have already...
That's a low amount, but I don't think I deserve 400.
I have deemed you both worthy, okay? You have taken me, I brought out my broadsword, and I've tapped you both in the shoulder. That is worth thousands, hundreds of thousands of views and likes.
Yeah.
And also, who cares? And seriously, you guys shouldn't even look at the chat. Chat is cancer.
Speaking of, should we go to the chat for some questions?
Oh my god.
Perfect timing, like it. Yeah, let's do that. Let's focus on the chat for how long?
We'll give them 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Okay. Well, I just blocked Amos to start our 10-minute fucking idiot. I mean, seriously. Dr. Jones! Dr. Jones! Get the hell out of here.
Mowgli looking bitch.
Scumbag. I mean, seriously, like, you know, you don't judge a book by cover. It's way easier to judge a human. Within 2 seconds of him on Dave Rubin, I was like, oh my god, this guy's a putrid nuts. Fuck this kid. And I was like, why did I tell Dave to put him on the show?
Well, before you'd seen it, to be fair.
Yeah, I know. I should have worked with him first. Anthony had to stop smoking. Uh-oh, is he dropping a bombshell? Okay, did you get what she was? You might as well have said that.
Because I know how much grief somebody gets. No, I get as much grief in real life as I do online.
Okay, defend your position too. I'm gonna... My repeated request for you to continue living. I think so just admit what you are.
A weak man.
And an addict.
And an addict, yeah.
Physically, mentally, emotionally addicted to the pot.
Disgusting habit. The pot? Did you say?
Yeah, it's cannabis.
Are you ripping...
I'm not ripping bone words like Billy did.
Chat's moving fast. Which one is worse, MRAs or modern feminists?
I wasn't even looking at the chat.
Are you ripping nicotine bone words?
When will you sub TJ's tiny cock for new subs? That guy needs banning.
Can I debate Dr. Random Cam on circumcision? I would be open to that.
What is the debate? I don't understand.
There's not much depth. There's not much depth for that conversation.
No, I don't think it's as serious as actually.
Honestly, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Look, and I'll even give ground. If you want to make this whole case about its mutilation and it's based on religion, we don't need... Fine, then let the guy grow up and then let him make a decision if he wants. I'm sure you could, as an adult, get circumcised and it wouldn't be that huge of a deal.
Yeah.
It is. No, it is a deal. A lot more complicated when you're older.
It's like I think it's 6 weeks away from sex.
Yeah, but I mean...
Yeah, but there's more chance of complications occurring in later life than there is when...
What I'm saying is, you could do that if you really wanted to, whereas in reverse you can't. You could do it in reverse, but it's a major pain in the ass.
It's like how much for sex?
Oh my god, very nice. Very nice, how much? So crazy.
$10 for hand job? No.
Gavin, do you know anyone directly affected by any of the recent terrorist attacks in Germany?
No, but that's not the point. See, I would never try to claim special victimhood status, like, oh, that's my friend Helga, got blown up. No. It's, the point is that these people have families and friends, and yes, the fact that it's in our proximity makes it worse, makes it more close to home, but you know, it's really scary. I mean, and, you know, it's we knew this was coming, and now it's come, and you know, none of us are saying "told you so" because it's just got this tragic, sickening feel to it, and it's not fun. It's not like, yeah, gotcha, we win. You know, like Donald Trump does that. And there's a terrorist attack, he goes, see, no, this is what I predicted, I'm a genius.
Would you guys rather be blind or deaf? Not deaf, nigga, deaf.
Nice, who said that?
Jack.
That's deaf. Nice. Blind or deaf? I'm a visual guy, I'm definitely blind.
Yeah,
Somebody said they don't want to get Canadian atheists off with the girl other than the drunken peasant, but we've already done that.
Oh my god, never again. Devin, have you seen Star Trek yet? No, I didn't even know there was a new Star Trek. I watched Steve Shive's video where he gives a review of that film. And it was so lame. I was mesmerized by the lameness. I was like stuck watching that.
I got a gaming question. Am I going to play No Man's Sky? It's one of the ones from E3 a few years ago I was looking forward to. I'll probably wait until after a month of it coming out before I get it, but it does look a bit like Minecraft, so it might not be something interesting.
Anthony and I are like, is this not anything to do with Pong? Like Pac-Man? Did Pac-Man come up with the new version?
Just new Pac-Man all the time. I was more of a Galactic guy.
Anthony's like, I can move left and I can move right, or shoot.
That's it. That's all you need.
That's what I
They recommended me a game and it's shit.
Which one?
Geometry Wars.
Hold on. Say that word again?
Geometry.
No, not geometry. The other word, how you classified it. Oh, yeah.
Fucking shit, mate.
They spend a lot. The Brits spend a lot.
You see, Devin, all you're getting now is questions about why are you voting Hillary?
Oh, fucking hell.
Why are you voting Hillary?
So it's weird, but I don't
People not listen to what you say.
No, it's weird, man. Look, whatever these non-Hillary people... Let me just cut to the chase. I don't want to talk politics. Sam Harris and me, Devin Tracy, are voting for Hillary Clinton. If you think that we're doing that for no reason or bad reasons, just let it sleep with it. Sleep with the fact that you're against Sam Harris and me. And let's see how you're going to wake up with night terrors and a cold sweat from, holy shit, maybe I'm wrong. You are wrong. You should vote Hillary. Thank you. I support this message.
Nice round. So no more questions about Hillary before I've said it.
Oh god, and it's so stupid when somebody just criticizes one candidate in a two-candidate race. Like, it's like, why should I vote for the other guy over her?
I think they'd be happy if you said you weren't voting.
Yeah, it's weird. Which is
the answer to
suicide.
But not
like
just letting the other guy win.
Yes, it's not defensible. How are you guys dealing with the new prime minister?
I don't. She hasn't really done much.
She should overturn the Muslim decree in London about the sexy girls in the ads. She goes,
this is great, thank you, yes.
She should walk out in just like a G-string and just be like, England is fine with body positivity or fat shaming, and you know, tell that Muslim to go back to his country.
This bitch with a vengeance. Checking these names off my hit list. She shit, nigga, don't pretend this flow ain't pretty and even
No, don't give us numbers, but give us like your general sense of it.
Everybody know everywhere you go, every fucking show, that bitch niggas gon' see me. I made shit look easy. Came into the game hanging out with the legends. Put a stay on my back. How you hating on that? Nigga, thank God it's my presence. Cause I'm an icon. Need me like Akon. Mixed right here with a little bit of recall. In a whole different world, I play wrong and I run the hood with me.
Oh no, you're saying that whiskey is when you're fucking on whiskey and you can't.
They seem fake. This loyalty, my shit crazy. Yeah, I spend all day eating kimchi. Y'all boys gotta eat
It's because you've been drinking your body.
No, whiskey is when you carry on forever.
When I touch my flight, still I pray before I eat. Still I think before I speak. Still I drink before I drive. I ain't said I was perfect, I said I was a beast. Beast gon' be never pick my teeth. You want some bitch, come find me. Cause I make it hard for you to stand as a man. Let alone stand by me, try me, nigga. They let these real niggas in the building. Living out my dreams. Off your feelings. Let these real niggas in the building. Living out my dreams. Hands to the ceiling. They let these real niggas in the building. Living out my dreams. Motherfuck your feelings.
So, explain this to me. So, you're a sexual encounter and take us back to the living out my dreams. Hands to the ceiling. like, what is the impression that you've left on the woman? When you see her eyes in contact with that, what is the feel that you get? This is just like the Pilates as far as
it's more of a satisfaction,
trying to make it on my own. I'm a grown ass man, oh that's why I stand out. You see this space that I found it like CCH. I got her back home and she all on the phone with a friend. Girl, you gotta see this place in the day I write. Or at night when the beats come out. I speak from the south, I speak my mind.
I'm sure
if I'm here, GPT gon' shine and we gon' grind till we die. I work so hard, nigga, I could cry. If I could fly, I wouldn't come down. I just see sky, I don't see no ground. But still I pray, go I eat, still I think, go I speak, still I drink, go I drive. I said I was perfect, I said I was a beast. Beast on beast, pick my teeth. You want some bitch come find me, cause I make it hard for you to stand as a man. If I don't stand by me, try me.
And then when I'm not working, I'm getting home, I'm getting home late from work, and then when I'm not working, I'm doing this.
Do you ever masturbate with 2 hands?
No, they let these real niggas in the building. Living out my dreams. Hands to the ceiling. Yeah, they let these real niggas in the building. Living out my dreams. Motherfucking feelings. I said, they let these real niggas in the building. Living out my dreams. Hands to the ceiling.
Yeah.
What does that do for you?
Living out my dreams, living out my dreams. Motherfucker feelings, this my dream. Nigga, this my dream.
Is it an erogenous zone? I feel like grabbing the boobs or something just non-creative and it's just like,
nigga, this my dream. Motherfucker feelings, this my dream. Nigga, this my dream. Motherfucker feelings, this my dream. These are my dreams. Motherfucker feeling, nigga, this my dream.
Yeah, but I've never like, I feel like the boobs are just like, it's almost like how we view our balls.
Waiting on this album got me feeling like I
in the way all the time.
Well, I mean, like if somebody gives you attention to your balls, you're like, oh, that's cool. But it's not something you're like, I must have ball touch. Suck those.
No, but if you do it at the same time.
Right.
Like doing a hand action, you see that?
Hand action.
He's doing hand action.
But remember, we were discussing with TJ his sort of, you know, his anal stuff. Yeah, that was weird. We should have asked Tyler. Thought about quick conversation.
Well, we can. If anyone wants to see that, look on my channel. It's 12 months ago.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, what do we do about Anthony's rise and success? I mean, how do we curtail this?
Well, I'm doing what you're doing, Paul. I'm not getting anybody to subscribe.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot.
I'll try and make people aware that you do the podcast, but I mean, why wouldn't you do that?
You know what I'd buy, Anthony, if the technology was available? It would be a t-shirt that had a live, real-time ticker of his subcam. I bet you they have this. I think that, like, they're really technology. Yeah, you would wear it.
Well, this is the weird thing. I know we don't know about that, right? But at the beginning of this month, and we're like, what, 3 weeks in, I had 3,000 subs, I think. Not even that, I think I had 2,000 or something. I got over 5,000 subs.
Do you feel twice as good about yourself now?
No. And I know we've talked about this. No, we've talked about this. We talked about this last night. It's just a case of keeping it real. We don't let that side of it have any impact on what we're doing whatsoever. The fact that we started it because we wanted to and we did it for a laugh. If we ever decide that's anything else, that's what we fuck things up.
I think so. I want to see Marcus Curry go. Shows how it's a
I was gonna do that, but then
could you do one side curly, one side straight?
Yeah.
I kicked it in.
Can you like raise it inside out like that?
I honestly would love to see that. Because it would be just so weird. It's like let me talk in geek language. You know the villain from the Batman series who was half face? It's like half yes, Harvey Dent, exactly. That's what I want, but just with your hair version of it.
The back of my hair, I can straighten it.
Like with Miley Cyrus, and we going to the stars. Got that ODB, cause they say they like it raw.
This is her first world problem. She just got finished talking about raping the Muslim world, and she's like, also my hair is getting issue.
You should hear it when it roared. Let Tuki hit the wax. He was sleeping on the floor. Hear a nigga talking shit. We'll be creeping through your door.
I'm done with it.
Girl say she wanna leave with her best friend. She gon' suck it like a straw. I got dollars, I got diamonds, plus I'm going to buy that money. I'ma give it to him raw.
Did he read the article? Because he's pro BLM.
Leather nigga, that's raw. Take that
Mr. Grant, off on the Rams back in LA. Are they back in LA? I didn't even know that, but good for them. Good luck getting people to come out to watch. I wonder if they have a new logo or uniform. And hopefully the quarterback is not some Christian fundamentalist with a mohawk or a flat top and a butch wife, which was the case when he was in St. Louis. That was a little American football talk for you guys. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go to that one, so you can keep doing the chat for a minute.
Yeah. Anthony is intellectually curious enough to stay interested in topics that he is interested in. And the second do you realize from that, he goes into the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, is that wrong?
No, you admit it. I like it.
Okay. Alright, I'll be done.
Oh, Joe's here.
Talk shit about you instantly. What does Devin think of Mike Cernovich? Well, I don't know. I think he comes from Eastern Europe.
Who's Mike Cernovich?
I have no idea. Give me another one. Are they being nice to you now? Or me?
The Flying Monkeys are nice to me. I don't know who leaves the bad comments, but they don't seem to be fine with me. Because they're like, shut up, Anthony, and like, no one wants to listen to you. The Devon Show. What are you doing here? Flying Monkey Project.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, like, I have enough outlet for myself. I don't need any I'd much prefer that other people slap.
The Flying Monkeys seem to like it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a room for casualness. It's, this whole idea, here's a new segment and let's criticize that. Yes, how about just chat? Because we used to be allies. We don't do that. Because, most of those hangouts used to be just a disaster. I mean, there really should be a tutorial on how to do a successful hangout. Because, first of all, 10 people in a room, that is not working. That's not working.
I'll get Anthony to be in charge of the hangout. That's remote.
Because he'll have a tech issue?
Yeah. Break his phone. Riker is greater than Anthony.
Yeah, that's the way we just said.
What?
But I'd never get Anthony in a hangout.
You shouldn't organise a hangout.
He would get guests and stuff, but it's really a skill to know who to get. It's the ingredients. It's like a good chef. You need to know how to mix them and who's going to go well together.
And I'm not a chef, thank you very much.
He's a hangout chef. But who doesn't hangouts or videos? And yet he still gets more stuff.
Devin is like a stupid nigga.
Well, let me think. No, she's
saying I'm a new race.
Yeah, she's created her own race, and I mean, if anybody wants to play the victim, she has about 1 million cards to play. So, right. She's the little phenomenon. It's mental. Like I don't know. I think she doesn't really identify as black, but she definitely has black people in her family.
I can identify as black. I mean, in America, you have that one drop rule where I'd be like 25% black. I still don't think
when you come with us
to, somebody just asked me to fix black crime.
Okay, it's my job? Or her job?
No, I was just asking you thoughts, how you fix it?
Stop committing crime.
That would be the start.
But here's what's sad about it. You know how you talk about early intervention? So, that's not high school, that's not junior high, it's definitely elementary and before. It's actually preschool. And that's the sad truth of it, because it is the family. So it's native. That's where we need to start. Right when the act of conception. When we have black male penetrating black female, then we gotta show them a video. And be like, okay, sorry to interrupt you, it's gonna take 10 minutes. Okay, this is what's gonna happen if you decide to pull it right now.
DJ asked a good question. If you were stranded on a desert island and food and survival were not an issue, what 3 items would you bring to pass the time and keep your spirits up?
A Bible, a lighter, and a video camera to film me burning the Bible. No, that's a very involved question, isn't it? Actually,
like desert island discs, if anybody's familiar with that. Like what 10 tunes would you take? Music, I would definitely like to take some form of music.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't worry, I'm not going to be that guy with the guitar. That guy. No, I'm not going
I would bring a plane so I could get off the island.
Nice.
Genius.
She's like MacGyver. I'm watching MacGruber right now. Back to the black issue. I honestly think the thing that is going to help them is for their communities to take ownership over the real problems. So it's started. There's small people speaking out, but that needs to become the prevalent viewpoint of like, okay, let's stop blaming white people. We get that. Put that aside. That's over. That period is over. There's still pockets of resistance. It's not a big deal. We got to talk about what we're doing for ourselves. And that's not what's happening on BET or in any of these Nation of Islam, none of that. It's all from white people, and that's just crazy.
Someone in the chat that's got the same name as my brother. I'm wondering whether it's my actual name. Devin TBH, I hate most people. I hate most black people, and I'm black.
What's his name?
Interesting.
Somebody asked you if you found him
I think I could go. Actually, I'm bad guy. Some guy wrote me a long email and he said, please, I swear to God, it was a mistake, I was stupid, take it back. And what's so funny to me is, I have no idea what they said to me. They could have told me to die, or like, I hope your mother gets canceled. Like, it's okay, I'll undone it, it's no big deal.
Any other questions?
Well, it's extremely recommended.
It is, yeah.
I mean, we got...
Just waiting on my moment. Bad hoes, I'm showing it. Time came and I hold it just like Brian Jackson start rolling. When I touch the rock and I crack the block, when I pulled up and that bust the drop with that roof off with my shoes off for y'all bitch niggas. Roof off, real nigga in my hood who everybody gon' roof off. They see me come from that bottom where everybody get body.
Kevin, promise me and all the flying monkeys that you will never die. I think he's quoting Team America World Police.
What's today?
Gold license.
What is it like?
Did you, was it see fit for you, or were you talking to your black roots with that?
It's more of a Malaysian thing, is that?
Do you come from the Dindy tribe?
Dindy, no.
Like, you did so much more live from that first one we did.
Devin, how can you never talk about your mother? Because my mother is no longer with us. She died when I was a child. It was 5 years ago. Yes. So I don't know much about her. I mean, aside from her, I don't have much stories. Yeah. But it's weird. It's much better if you don't lose a parent for them to die young or when you're young. Because, it's not. I thought, wasn't that his mom died when he died? That's a big deal.
Well, no, I mean, no, my mom and dad when I was, late 30s. So it didn't affect me. So I think there is a bad time in your life that it can happen.
Was she a smoker?
She was,
yeah.
Are you noticing a trend?
Oh, yes. Don't bring that to me.
History repeats itself.
Well, there's some truth in that.
Okay, but let me just... Okay, I understand you don't like talking about this, but just... You know, I just want to put this on the record. Okay? Captain's Log. Why wouldn't you just stop right now? You know it's good. Rationally, you understand what I'm talking about. You want to live. You like health. You enjoy being alive. Why not just stop?
Because I know that in an hour or two I'm going to start getting really want a cigarette.
Okay, now,
Substitute?
why can't you override that?
Well, some people find it easier than others. I don't know, I'll just, if I start talking, I'm just going to sound like an apologist, which is why I find it difficult, because I know,
so be honest. The honest answer is you can't or you don't want to.
He doesn't want to.
I don't want to, yeah.
No, he can.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing to know.
No, it's shameful, dude. Shameful.
What the fuck?
I know.
It's so trouble because when we were in Vegas, you were telling me, oh yeah, I'm going to the vape, I'm doing this and that. And now that's all gone. You don't hear anything. He's not pro vape.
No, I'm pro vape. I am pro vape.
Pro vape.
Well, it's better than smoking tobacco.
Nice smoke screen I could just put on this.
Anyway, move on. Jesus.
I've got
Okay,
it's called Jam on Toast.
Got what?
The flavour of my vape juice is called Jam on Toast.
Jam on toast.
Tastes like
Jam
Jam
on
on Toast.
So Anthony, we're looking at Leopard. It's pathetic and disgrace what she has to date, but at least you can get to that level.
Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah. You get to that. Oh. So then, no, God, I tried. Everybody I tried. So,
Never did. I know.
guys, timestamp this for the eulogy, because this bastard knows I was telling him. It was like I told Christopher Hitchens.
Yeah, that was a funny thing you guys did down to it. Like, oh, Hitchens was wrong. Hitchens thought it was like, I got smoke facts.
Yeah, I love this idea because Hitchens was against Hillary and then against the Clintons. So it's an appeal to authority, but then it's like, yeah, he was also in favor of the Iraq War, which the person saying this to me is probably not in favor of.
I'm still in favor of the Iraq War.
Yeah, exactly. So they're going to cherry pick the Hitchens things, and then I'm supposed to buy into just the one thing that Hitchens said? Unbelievable.
We'll stop talking about it.
I think that we should campaign. Make ends
Yeah, got it. We've got, yeah, alright. You know.
Let's start a petition.
You know, I always thought if I started doing like a video blog of like day 1, stop smoking, but then I thought, well, that's really putting myself out there. What if I get to day 5 and like, fuck this shit?
You're putting yourself out there, then it's going to be pressure.
For failure? No, for well, yeah, but I'm putting pressure
if you do it, you're going to have loads of
Okay, here, let me explain. Does Paul smoke? The cripple?
No, I don't think so.
Who's the cripple Paul?
Ginger Paul from the Skeptic.
He's not cripple, is he? How's he crippled? Is he missing a leg or something that we haven't seen?
Well, he's handy incapable, is what I like to call him. He has bad knees, apparently. But I saw him walking around. Too much headbang. But Grant smokes. I mean, a lot of the flying monkeys smoke. I should add all of them. Billy Bond smokes. Billy Bond, I don't think he smokes cigarettes, but... Yeah, still, you don't get a pass with the bong.
I think I am a yeah.
Actually, I think the Iraq War, there was a case for it. Yeah. And this whole revisionist history where people say, they didn't do 9/11 and that was the reason we went. Well, that's not what happened. And we know that. It's just all the simple thing.
England's reason for going to war South, Afghanistan and Iraq were different to America. We wanted to get Saddam chaos.
Yeah, it's, I can understand both sides on that, but maybe there was just a little bit of bloodlust in the after 9/11 residual.
I think it is worth it to get a guy who's killed 2 million people out of power. Who's used WMDs, regardless of whether we find them or not. He has a history of using WMDs to kill 2 million people.
From a humanitarian standpoint, you do have a case. The problem is that in retrospect, it looks bad because obviously the country went to shit, which they all do.
The country's doing better than ever. It's got 5 times increased economy.
Okay, well after, millions dead and ISIS and all that. But like,
that's also their fault as well. They did.
Oh yeah, I blame them. I definitely blame them too. It's just that, we get basically the stigma of just how infrastructurally fucked these countries are. And, they keep repeating the same patterns. And, guess what? Iraq didn't turn into Japan or South Korea, so yes, it's our fault. So no, it's them. So it's a mess. Gambling used to be a vice. Now, nothing that's too self-destructive, I would say. The heroin I do is watered down. It's not even a thick blend of it. I do that in honor of Kurt and just in remembrance. No.
So that was the chat.
Yeah, he's chatting.
We'll keep watching the chat. Yeah, we're back. Yeah. So that's good.
Okay. Alright, well, let's watch a video.
Yay! Which one shall we watch?
Well, I noticed the Black Lives Matter in Toronto. That's kind of old news. The Took It Islam guy, that's old too. We did the book.
But let's do Stacey Dooley. And which one?
Which one? We'll go see inside in Orlando.
Yeah, let's do Cologne. See what that's about.
It's already on. You want to
Does anybody, can you guys give a description of who Stacey Dooley is?
She's an airhead from the UK.
Okay, but how is she famous?
She's just a TV girl.
Was she on like she wasn't on the leagues, was she on like
I think she did a fashion show first.
She's pretty great, she's an airborne kind of nice in the face.
So what is her political, she's basically regressive.
Oh no, she's beyond regressive.
Yeah. But it's also like an understandable regressivism of young, pretty girls. They're like, I want life to be air-free. Well, in the old videos, yeah, I mean, she's an attractive person, but what I'm saying is that her freeness and her gender, it tends to lead to a stance that's non-confrontational. And I think there's some reasons to back that up. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he was an ugly man, he wouldn't have the same reasons to not call out a man for little bits. He'd be like, my life is shit. You know, I'm not winning people over. I might as well be honest at this point.
Do you know how hard I tried to find Tommy Robertson in a suit for the thumbnail? And that final number I found loads of pictures of her do like and the thumbnail for one of them videos. I had to do the technical side of Anthony's channel, even when
She's behind the scenes, man.
We're all reaping the financial reward.
yeah,
Like us, like
so far I've made negative 300,000.
Yeah, Anthony, tell us about your aspirations to have a Patreon for this channel.
Well, I'm making this on a hangover tonight, and I don't know. I got the impression people got a little bit pissed that I was even considering it, but maybe I just got the wrong end of the stick. I don't know.
I'll sum it up for you. You know how what you're watching right now is totally free and that we're providing entertainment for you and taking time out of our lives? Anthony is here to say that's no longer going to happen.
No.
You must pay now.
No, it's completely optional.
It is optional.
But we're gonna do a funny video for it, not for this attention. And if people feel like putting $1 in the hat, then that's up to them. If they don't want to do that, then it's fine. And that's it.
Do I feel
like no speak?
Do I speak too fast?
No.
It's just people's lack of
subconscious.
No, people are saying they can't understand me in the chat because I talk to them.
No, it's just their lack of being worldly wise.
Yeah, it's a learning curve. It's like the first time I listened to Gervais and Pilkington, I had basically no idea what they were saying. I had to, but you get used to it. It's like they're babies. They're like a sponge.
Yeah, so anyway, I spoke to Devin about the coaching last night. He's like, well, we can't go not to do it. But the podcast trying to do it while we're not going to do it.
But you know what's funny? These people in the podcast, they want to make the world England, even with language. So they're not going to come to us and start talking normal English. They're going to expect you to come to them.
Yes. People in America love our accent. I can't love it. I get every single day at work.
I get a message every day and I'm like,
I'm going to reveal something. Here's a little honesty. 90% of the reason I was frustrated with you guys is I feel like I'm talking to Game of Thrones people. That's 90 to 92% of the reason.
So we talk about
I could maybe like a Scarlet Marjorie.
Marjorie is
Yeah, a little bit.
What is my accent? My accent?
So,
I'm from Liverpool, but I don't sound Scouse. I sound a bit Scouse, but I'm not like, fucking hell,
she's an ambassador of Scouse City.